idols, and we cutting down poles. We calling back Israel to the hell we know. Throwing out crystals, we don't need these stones. And we ain't no God, that's a job for y'all. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High, Yahuwah. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Yah Israel. Tearing down idols, we cutting down poles. We calling back Israel to the hell we know. We throwing out crystals, and we don't need these stones. We ain't no God, that's a job for Yah.
Everybody help me say all praise. All praise to the Most High. I can't hear you say. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Hey, all praise. All praise to the Yah of Israel.
Send you the first, we going out, out. Send you the first, we going out, out.
Preset if you scared, then go home. And no, we ain't saying it twice. Cause once you get into this war zone, it's either your life or their life. And we ain't about losing before an intrusion. We gotta make sure we right. So we send praise and seek his face. Then we load up it is on site. What you thought it was, it's not. Don't wanna see us on your block. Yelling hallelujah, trying to tell y'all that victory is your shot. We serve Yah's out by oath, and in this army of hosts, yeah, Yahoo the lead. True indeed, in his name we boast. Go.
Send you the first, we going out, out. Send you the first, we going out, out. Torch fire, flags in the street. sing louder, kick up the beat. All them enemy feet get delete when we cray in the street. Drew to drop them knee. Who got the praise for days? Who are the what can't face? Made for praise, spit prophecy. We be that anointed royalty. I said we came. The bar Hamayim number 2, that's on replay. Yeah, we gon' bust them walls, mash up and be on our way. Yeah, to the nations we proclaim his Kudash name. Yahuwah, Yahuwah, Yah, Yah. Send you the first, send you the first. We going out, out. Send you the first.
You said.
Send you the first. We going out, out.
From Simeon to Benjamin, we need every man out here standing. Got sisters home and they praying while they brothers in the field slaying.
Slaying demons in sorrow. Hamashiach, we do follow. Sword the truth, we loud no mute. We lenders out here, we know no borrow.
Jacob's seed is undefeated when y'all's greeted with praise and leads us through a war without a grievance till the win is completed. Then we return with our pieces.
Peace banger, peace be still with the Rangers. Mighty morphin', we hang them up to drop, they can hang on, hang on.
Let's go.
Send you the first, send you the first. We going, send you the first, send you the first. We going, send you the first, send you the first. We going out, out.
Purify me, Yah, in the flames. Purify me, send your let it rain. Purify me, Yah, in your name. Purify me, purify me.
Purify my heart, my home, my dome, my soul, bring peace. Purify this dirty water in my cup I drink. I only want the living water from the king. Only want the diamond pressing out of me. Only want the white garment that's clean. Only want the true facts, that's me. 24 carats I rock in my heart, but it sinks to the bottom, you know that it's pure. Coming in sharp like a dark and the aim is on point, so you know that I'm pure. Filter all the evil out of my life, so when I pour it's pure. You know that it's more. I didn't close them doors, so move your finger, boy.
Purify me, Yah, in the flames. Purify me, send your let it rain. Purify me, Yah, in your name. Purify me, purify me.
Trauma after trauma, trouble after trouble. Expected this way of life to be an eternal tussle. Thriller in Manila, told the Most High that I can't endure. Increasing power with each blow. I'm telling them, give me more. It's gonna take more than just one. On that front line when it come. Boy, this spiritual warfare decided to come here, bring more than a gun. I've been purified, so down the ride as long as breath in my lungs. That consuming fire burnt my desires, never going back where I'm from. Go.
Purify me, Yah, in the flames. Purify me, send your let it rain. Purify me, Yah, in your name. Purify me.
Yeah, man, I step out the fire, my foot on the devil, I'm talking to y'all like a FaceTime. Purify my spirit, y'all say my soul, I've been trying to stay pure on this baseline. Old folks with the old me, they don't know me, just look at my waistline. Fridges drop on the bottom, Hakuna Matata, ain't worried about none of them headlines. Fake news in the media, I'm never media unless we talk about Torah. I'm just trying to go spread the bazaar. Saying talking, I try to ignore. I'm looking for lost meanings in the scripture, I'm on an adventure like Dora. Y'all can write a designer, I write a designer, his image got me an immortal.
Cause I'm keeping the faith. If you're not with it, then move on my way. It's purification, it's keeping me sane. I don't get offended cause I'm not the same. If you stuck in the past or you stuck in the maze, keeping it real, a minute behind is a minute too late. If the first shall be last and the last shall be first, but I endure to the end of who win in the race. Sin the perversion, I'm a face, shuffle your boots and tie your lace. Go through the fire, then conversate. Give me a time, dog, finna wait. You back in the hind, dog, on the lake. You read it all wrong, dog, connotate. You falling behind, dog, keep the pace. You heard it all wrong, dog, spin the tape.
Purify me, Yah, in the flames. Purify me, send your let it rain. Purify me, Yah, in your name. Purify me, purify me. Purify me, Yah, in the flames. Purify me, send your let it rain. Purify me, Yah, in your name. Purify me, purify me.
All right. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Mic check, mic check, mic check. If you guys can hear me, throw some fire emojis in the room. Throw some 100 emojis in the room. By all means, let me know that you are in the room. If you can hear me, throw some fire emojis in the room. Let me know that you are all in the room. Let me know that everybody can hear me. I'm ready when you are. So, here at Learn Torah Hebrew Academy, we go live at least 4 times a week, every week. That's Monday through Thursday. Our Monday class is our biblical Hebrew class. Our Tuesday class is our Torah class. Our Wednesday class is our rabbinical course. And our Thursday class is our Kabbalah course. So for those of you who have been missing Zion Lexx TV, just know that we ain't really went nowhere except that we at Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. A lot has happened since I've last been live on YouTube. And as much as it, as much as I might be triggered by some of the content I see to want to get back on YouTube, I'm still so focused on, doing what I do at Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. So again, I just adjure everyone that if you enjoy and value what we do here at Zion Lexx TV, then you would really benefit from what we do at Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. Make sure you sign up. That's at patreon.com/Learn Torah. Shout out to many of you who were formerly people that were just Zion Lexx TV viewers who are now officially a part of Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. And we're doing well. We've had some amazing lectures. We've had some incredible presentations. We've even had from among our own people that stepped up to lead various classes. So we are definitely doing our thing, and we are absolutely in our own lane. On that note, I want y'all to tell me what's new in the community. Before I go into the topic at hand, maybe I could address some elephants in the room. So for the next 10 minutes, I'm going to do what we do not do here at Zion Lexx TV. I'm going to allow you guys to run a quick Q&A. So for the next 10 minutes, we got a live Q&A. I want to know what's going on in the community. I want to know what topics should be discussed. And I want you to throw some questions at me. Let's see what we can address live. All right. I'm going to even give you guys some time to come up with those things by quickly sharing a video. Here we go.
Want to take your understanding and perception of the Hebrew Bible to new and exciting heights and depths? Then join us today at Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. We offer a full range of masterly taught and thought-provoking classes and courses in Biblical Hebrew for beginners and advanced students, Torah classes, with specific emphasis on the weekly Torah portion. We also offer Kabbalah classes for beginners and advanced students, affording everyone a deeper and more esoteric understanding of the Bible and Torah. Lastly, we also offer courses in Rabbinical and Levitical ministry training, especially designed for those looking to embark upon leadership opportunities in the community. We provide certificates and diplomas for several of our classes. Our online academy meets a couple days a week, and all of our classes are video recorded and for your playback needs. Each class recording comes with a fully digitized AI transcript, documenting everything learned and discussed in each session.
All right, and just like that, we back. So I'm going to take a couple questions from the audience, from the chat. You guys throw me some questions, and I'm going to throw you some answers, whatever I can answer. All right, we're going to do that for about maybe 5 minutes. If it's going really good, we probably extend it to 10 minutes, and then I'm going to go right into my presentation. Do remember that we do have a biblical Hebrew class occurring tonight at 8:45 p.m. That's 8:45 p.m. sharp here at patreon.com/Learn Torah. And let me see what is the first question that I see. Shalom. What is your knowledge of the Father's name being Yahweh? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Where do I begin? What is my knowledge on the Father's name being Yahweh? Well, my response to that question is anyone positing that does not have a fundamental or basic understanding of biblical Hebrew. They certainly don't have any historical attestations to that pronunciation, and they certainly couldn't present for you any grammatical work that would represent that. So I've heard it in times past. It's still very recent to me. You guys know I've been around 32 years now as of this February in the Israelite community. So being around so long, you hear a lot. And this Yahweh thing is new. The first time I came across that was maybe 2016, 2017. That we never heard of that in the 90s. I could tell you that right now. It was not a talk in the 90s. And for my teachers, that was not a talk in the 60s or the 50s. So I've prior to, I want to say 2016, I've never heard of it. And, I pretty much had my ear to everything by that point, but I haven't heard of it. So it's pretty much a new doctrine. As you guys know, one of the problems in the Israelite community is that a new doctrine is born every day, because with incoming people and paradigm shifts comes a desire and a need to want to go and do one's own thing. So you guys know how the alphabet camps basically start. You join the alphabet camp, you agree with the information initially. At the point at which you disagree, you start to scratch your head. At the point of which you disagree more, you start to say, I'm not feeling this. And by your third day in, yep, it really takes 3 days. And by your third day in, you're ready to go. And so you step and you form yourself a whole new alphabet camp, even though you are 3 days in to acknowledging that you are a Hebrew Israelite. Ain't that something? I can tell y'all something, man. One thing you guys miss out on with the experience of Learn Torah Hebrew Academy is my humor side, man. That's definitely something that has always been a part of me. I'm a humoristic person. I can go in. And usually when I'm on YouTube, especially for those of you who know me for debating, you see a more serious side of me where I'm debating, but I'm a comedian to the bone, man. I will roast the greatest roaster, believe you me. I'm a comedian to the bone. But seriously, the term Yahweh is new. It doesn't reflect or represent a fundamental or even basic novice understanding of biblical Hebrew. And I would say, with all due respect, it is completely pseudo. And I am aware that some of you say that some great teachers teach this, but I'd be hard pressed to refer to someone as a scholar in the language and they're telling me that the name of the creator is Yahweh. What I would even say, I got a little time today, homeboy said, I got time today, cuz I got a little time today. What I would even say is, if you would like to join the live stream and you believe that Yahweh is the name of the creator, well, join the live stream. Let's go. The link is in the chat. We got an open invitation here at Zion Lexx TV to learn together or to get this smoke, whichever one you asking for. We either gonna learn together, and if need be, you could get this smoke. So if you feel that confident about it, I'm hearing it's in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Yeah, well, join the live stream and show us. Straight like that. I know y'all know that when I turn on this microphone, it's not to play at all, not even a little bit. So when you present certain information on Zion Lexx TV, I'm not going to filibuster you. I am not going to harass you. But I would definitely let you know if you're feeling froggy, jump. Now, I'm in a bit of a comedic mode in a moment, but this is a very serious presentation. Make sure you share your screen. For those of you who are joining Zion Lexx TV live, make sure we can see your face. This should be a great build. This should be a great build. Make sure we can see your face before I unmute your mic. There we go. There we go.
Shalom, shalom.
All right. Shalom, shalom. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for answering the question and having me on. I'm in a bit of a rush because I got to go teach a piano lesson, but thank you so much for your time. So just really quick, just to present the case for Yahweh. So from my understanding, you know, the teacher, I'm not going to say the teacher's name because I'm actually trying to teach more about this. And I respect what you're doing because much of Israel is very unlearned in the language. We go off of what we hear, you know, so thank you for what you're doing. But this teacher, he shared a lot of the ancient archaeological things. Like, have you heard of the Trigrammaton?
Explain that to me.
Okay, so the Trigrammaton is the Greek rendering of the Most High's name. Now, what's fascinating about it is you can also find this in some of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Some of the findings, you know, they're all fragmented and whatnot. But the thing is, with that, it's spelled iota, alpha, and omega. Not only is that name spelled that way in some of the Dead Sea Scrolls by Greek-speaking Israelites, but some catacombs and some other archaeological things that were made by Hebrew hands and inscribed in Greek by those very same Hebrews. Now, to pronounce iota, alpha, omega is Yahweh. So those people who had that understanding of the Most High's name as Yahweh transliterated it that way. There you go, right there, I think. Oh no, that's the Tetragrammaton. But you can also find iota. If you type in iota, alpha, omega, name, you should be able to find the Trigrammaton, which is pronounced Yahweh.
Okay, let me do that live.
Now that's just even one layer. There are several other surrounding languages from antiquity or even later than that use their alphabet to pronounce or to spell out the Most High's name that way. Obviously, these surrounding nations heard of the great and terrible, you know, a God of the Israelites as they were making their way through the Canaanite conquest, and even what he did in Egypt, the greatest thing he's done, right? Until the second Exodus. But with that point, all of these nations heard the Most High's name and wrote it out, spelling it phonetically Yahweh in their ancient languages.
Okay, I don't see a manuscript with iota. I don't see a manuscript, so maybe you can come back at another point and share that manuscript. Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you at all.
Chat, can you hear me? Check. If you guys can hear me, let me know. If you guys can hear me, let me know.
I'm gonna leave here because I don't want to talk on topic.
You stay.
You at all.
Chat, let me know if you can hear me. Somebody actually let me know if you can hear me. Chat, can you guys hear me? I'm not sure why he's saying he was unable to hear me, but good brother, you have the freedom to rejoin the live stream. I would love to hear more about this. This should be a great conversation. I would love to hear more about this. Let's do it. Rejoin the live stream and let's see. By the way, the link to the live stream is on the live stream. So if you would like to join the live stream to jump in on this conversation or the conversation of the true name of the creator, then by all means follow the link. Moderators, I will ask you if you can please reshare the link to rejoin the live stream or to join the live stream so that people can get it. And until that person rejoins, there's already a there we go. Can you hear me now? You got to unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. Sorry about that.
That's fine. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So I don't see a manuscript with that. If you had one available, you could share your screen, or you can come back. I would actually give you time to come back at a separate time when you have real time. But I do have a question.
Okay, cool.
Right? So
Yes.
when you say that the Greek rendering is iota, how is that spelled in Hebrew?
So I say iota. It's actually 3 letters: iota, alpha, omega.
Yes. So
Okay.
how would that be rendered in Hebrew? How do you back translate? Because I get that that's the Greek transliteration. How would you
Yes.
back translate it to Hebrew? What's the Hebrew spelling?
The yod, hey, the vav, and the hey.
So that would bring us back to the tetragrammaton, the 4,
Yes, sir.
right? So
Right.
wouldn't that be problematic towards your point? I'm just trying to understand first. You said that you asked me if I heard of the Trigrammaton, of which, I said no. And then you explained what that is. And now
Right.
I'm asking you to back translate that to Hebrew, and you brought me back to the tetragrammaton. So explain that a bit for us, and then we can move a little bit.
For sure. So with us seeing that the Trigrammaton is the way in which you transliterate, what they're hearing, and if you know the rules of Greek, you know how to read, iota, alpha, omega says Yahweh. Now here's the thing, and I'll get to it. It's that Hebrew, for most of what we know, is a lost language. So most of we are guessing on the way that the language works. That guessing is taken away when you see how other languages transliterated it. Now, the way that the Hebrew works is this: you have the Yah. When the Yah is the first letter of the alphabet, it makes the Yah sound. Anywhere else, it makes the A sound. I won't get into that. We can talk about that another point. The Ha, it makes the Ha sound when it's the first letter of the word. I think I said alphabet earlier, of the word. And then it's a silent vowel placeholder otherwise. Then the Wa makes the O sound when it is the Wa. I'm sorry. The Wa makes the Wa sound when it's the first letter of the word. If it's anywhere else in the word, it makes the O sound. And then we have another Ha, which is another silent vowel placeholder. When that Ha has another word, it brings out that inerrant, or, how that each letter has the Ah, Ba, Ga sound.
Yes.
So now what we have is the Ya, the silent Ha, because it's next to the Ya, and it's also next to a Wa, which now makes the O sound, and we have another silent vowel placeholder. That's the rendering Yah-O. So that's how that works.
All right, so let me ask you this question. Just reminding everybody, if you join the live stream, please make sure that we can see your face. I know who you are, but we want to make sure the community can see your face. There we go. There we go. There we go. We're going to queue you up to join in a couple of moments, but I just want to still get a couple of points out with you.
Appreciate your time.
You're welcome, good brother. You're welcome. So, do you read Biblical Hebrew?
To the best of my ability. I'm still a student, but in the meantime, I've been trying to teach as much as I know, and I didn't realize I knew as much until, I started diving into stuff. So still a student, but also a teacher.
I get that. I'm trying to get a gist of where you're at, right? Just so I can better, I guess, even, dialogue with you. I need to know where you're at. So, we're no hidden
so
hands.
I understand parsing pretty well and things like that.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, cool.
No hidden hands. We're in Genesis
Genesis 1,
chapter 1, verse 1, right? No hidden hands. I want you to know where we're at, right? We're in Genesis 1, verse 1. How would you render the first 2 sentences as you know Hebrew to be read?
Sure.
And if I need to, do I need to make it bigger, by the way, or can you see it?
A little bit, yes, brother. Thank you.
Yes, I want to make sure that you can see it. All right. And by the way, what's your name?
Sai.
Sai?
Yeah, brother Sai. I got,
Shalom.
I'm on ISO Wisdom right there, of the Assembly House Zadok.
Excellent. All right. Shalom to you, brother Sai. All right. The floor is yours. I want to hear, based on your understanding, how this would be read.
Bereshith bar alaim ath hashamim wa'ath ha'aratz.
Keep going.
Wa ha'aratz, hetha Tha'o, Waba, Waba'o, Wahashar, is that a, no, I'm sorry, Wahashka? Is that a D or a Ka there? That's a Ka. Now, here's the one that gets funny. The ayin to me makes the Ra sound. We can talk about that when we have more time. Ral, Panay, Thahom. I'm sorry. I'm used to the paleo at this point. I got you. Thom. That's Thom. Okay. Wadoth. No, Wadoch. Ala aim. Marachapath. Ral, Panay. And then lastly, Hamim.
Okay, so just based on what I'm hearing, you follow more of an Aramaic reading of the text.
Okay.
Just by your letter substitutions, I can hear that you're following a more Aramaic reading, and that's not problematic because at a certain point in our history we do utilize Aramaic. There's even an argument made by some scholars that Aramaic could be older, so I don't have a problem with that at all. In fact, I want to say live, I'm a little impressed. I'm a little impressed. I'll tell you that. I do think we differ on some of the vowel pronunciations, but again, because I can hear that your point of reference is more Aramaic than Hebrew, I can go with that. So let me now ask you this question, right? Let me just go back to the text. All right. Now, how do we pronounce the title of God here? How are you pronouncing it in the first sentence?
I was pronouncing as Allah aim because you had that Allah, and then the ha there is a silent. Well, it brings the la back out.
Okay, so it begs the question for me: what rules of learning Hebrew are you following?
When you say what rules, so like all the grammar and things like that. So I'm really hesitant to put this brother's name out because I studied under him years ago, but he is a false Messiah. So I'm not being secretive for the sense of I don't want to share that with you. I just want to protect the body.
Well, I get it, and I would even add that that's honorable of you because you could do as some people say, throw him under the bus by making mention of him by name. So I would say that that's honorable. And one thing about me, good brother, when a person shows themselves having a measure of honor, I meet them at that's just who I am. I'm a water personality. So what I see before me is what I always reflect. When you initially joined, I was ready for smoke.
Really?
But I can't help being who I am. When a person treats me with respect, love, and I can also see some intelligence, and that's how I flow. I can't help that. That's just me.
All praises.
Right. So I enjoy that. So here's what I would say to you. It would probably be a more impactful conversation if you could come back with that manuscript so that we can look at it together. Right? I do paleo. I'm learning Greek, but I will tell you I'm a novice in Greek. And if
you're a novice, I'm a baby.
I'm a novice in Greek, but I've actually been studying with a teacher behind the scenes because one thing I'm always big on is that when you're learning a text, you should study it in the languages associated with its origin. And Greek is certainly associated with the New Testament in terms of its origin.
Absolutely.
We can make the arguments that there are Hebrew and Aramaics that are older, absolutely, but still, I say you have to learn Greek if you're studying the New Testament, right?
Yes,
that's what I've been doing.
Behind the pen and everything.
Yes. All right, so if you don't mind, just hold for a moment on mute, and I'm gonna introduce my brother.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually jet out of here. I gotta go teach a piano.
No problem.
Man, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, good brother. Email me if you can at zionlexx@gmail.com because I would love to have you on a show, and we could actually entitle the show the name of the creator, Yahweh versus whatever people are saying. I would love to do that.
All praises, man. All right, we'll pray on it, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Baruch Hashem. Take care, good brother.
Shalom.
All right. My brother Hezekiah. Ki Yahoo. Shalom. How you doing?
Shalom Nasi. How you doing?
Baruch Hashem, all is well. How are you? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can I be heard?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. Can you hear me? We can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Shalom, shalom. Can you hear
Shalom,
me?
shalom, shalom. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Wait 1 second. I'm gonna come back. Hold
Do
on.
that. Do that. Do that. Do that. All right. In the meantime, I'm gonna hold this up here. This should be a great conversation. Again, I said we would do a 10-minute Q&A, but that pretty much got drowned out. But I'm willing to take another question until Brother Hezekiah returns. I'm willing to take another question. There we go.
Shalom, shalom. Can I be heard?
You can be heard. Question is, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, shalom, Nasi. How you doing?
All is well. All is well. Shalom to you.
That's good to hear, man. That's good to hear. First, yeah, I wanted to have this conversation with you, behind the scenes, but now since I just got out of work from watching the show, I think now is like the best time for me to ask, concerning this name Yahweh. Uh, I just want to make sure that when I'm asking these questions, it's not to where people are thinking that I'm challenging Nasi. This is my teacher. I learned a lot from him, so I just kind of like wanted to put that out there. I'm just, basically
Baruch
asking
Hashem, man.
the questions.
And I want to say in their hearing, but I know I don't have to say it to you. Ain't no problem challenging the teacher, man. That's how we grow. We done had some excellent back and forth in class, one-on-one, and we both grew. That's how we grow. I'm saying that mostly for the community. I know you know I'm like this. And I'm sure when you say that, you're saying it for the community because I invite challenge on a respectful level. Absolutely.
All right. So yeah, I heard about this teaching myself, and I know the person, I know who the person the brother was referring to. So I'm not gonna put his name out there, but I kind of looked into the information that he presented, and it comes from it comes from like a scholarly perspective. So I looked into it, and I could kind of understand what the brother was trying to say. He just wasn't really like basically bringing it out. So what he was trying to say was that one of the oldest, it's not an Israelite artifact, but it's an Egyptian artifact. I know you're familiar with the Soleb inscription.
Absolutely.
So the Soleb inscription, where they use the name Ta Shasu and has the name of Yah to
Hold on,
describe
hold
the
on, hold on one moment. God is great because when you connect with great minds, you're always on the same page. Let me just show you something really quick as you're saying that. Just hold your point one moment if you don't mind. I want to show you something.
Okay.
That's on the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
It's part of my presentation, but go ahead.
All right. So this inscription right here, the lasso glyph, right, which I see in my notes. I'm reading off my notes I have here, so just bear with me. The lasso glyph, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not a metal netter specialist. That's why I came in, referred to you. The V, it's a V4. They consider it. The lasso glyph, and if you pull up Cleopatra's name in the hieroglyphs and Ptolemy's name, that same glyph is there in what I'm saying, in the name, to give it that O sound. So I can kind of see where the brother is, where that brother is getting that information from. And what do you have to say about that?
Okay. Well, it's news to me that anyone using the name Yahweh would be using the Egyptian. It makes sense now. I get it. I still think it's problematic, and I'll explain why by sharing my screen in a couple of seconds. But first, I'll state it. So the lasso glyph is not only the vowel O, it's also the consonant W. Okay, I want to make that clear. So the lasso is not just the O sound, it's the consonant W. Now, as you know, Yahoo, we are the Show Me class here at Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. So I'm not just going to say that, I'm actually going to show it on the screen. So if everyone were to look at the screen right now, you would see that the lasso glyph in Gardner sign V4 is primarily used, listen to this, is primarily used as a phonogram for the W. That's the primary. The O vowel is tertiary.
Yeah,
Secondary.
I can't hear you.
I'm not sure why you can't hear me. Jump in and out. Come in and out. Jump in and then jump out. Can you? There you go. All right. I'll say this now in the hearing of the community. So as many of you should know, I actually teach Medunetia, and I've taught it here at Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. I've done demonstrations with Kemetic scholars in the past that have vouchsafed or co-signed my ability to read in a Medunetia. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, good. So I'll run that point back I made. The lasso hieroglyph, which is classified as Gardner sign V4, is primarily used, and I'll highlight that, for the Wa or W sound. And in many modern simplified hieroglyphic alphabet charts designated for translated names, it is often assigned the letter O or W. What's the point to take away here first? Its primary usage, the way it's primarily interpreted, is W, because in most of the Medunetter inscriptions or even translations for the lasso, it's a W. Now, what you made mention is actually keen and makes a lot of sense to kind of unravel this all. Cleopatra is a Greek, right? That's clear as day. So she represents the Greco-Roman world making their incursion into the Egyptians' estate, right? Or state. Having said that, this is part of a colonizing period. What the community must know, and I would even say this to you, what you should know is that by this time or at this time, this is considered an intermediate period, right? In ancient Kemet, whenever you have a foreign body ruling in Egypt, it's considered an intermediate period. When names are transliterated during an intermediate period, difference is always given to the foreign name in transliteration. So this is why you'll see the lasso glyph represented as an O for Cleopatra. So for instance, if you look at the Merneptah Stela with the name Israel, there's controversy on whether or not the mouth glyph, the second appearance of the mouth glyph, whether that's an R or whether that's an L, because the mouth glyph is typically an L. But because the name Israel is a foreign name and ancient Egyptian or Medunetia does not even have an L sound whatsoever, the R glyph is used to represent that, right? Dealing or interacting with foreigners. So again, Cleopatra is a foreigner. That O sound in her name is not typically represented in Medunetia, but they will use the lasso to represent it. So here is my argument. Here is what would be my counter rebuttal to anyone making this claim. The use of the O in the transliteration here is inaccurate, because first, it doesn't reflect the primary use of this translation throughout ancient Egyptian history, which is the W. And that's something you could actually see on the screen right now, right? And I can even scroll down where it says this. Watch this. Key details regarding the lasso glyph. Sounds. It often represents sounds such as Wa, that's a W, or O. Usage in names. It was used to represent the O, look at this, when interpreting Greek and Roman royal names. I don't think the name Yahweh is Greek or Roman, and I think you would agree with that, right?
Gang.
So that means it would have been a W to represent the Yahweh on the Soleb inscription. I
Okay.
hope I said that with all due respect.
Okay, no, that I mean you pretty much answered that part of the question that I have. So now
Yeah.
let's switch gears a little bit. So now, you know me, when I bring up something to challenge you, I always have something in the back burner.
Okay.
So what else? What do you think about the Kalna excuse me, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. The Kala inscription, uh, 7 line 11, right? This is in the royal annals of Tiglath-Pileser the third.
Mm-hmm.
He mentions the Hebrew king Jehoaz, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's his name? Just give me a second here. The
Take your
professor's
time.
name is excuse me. His name is A. Weston Holtz. So it's a German uh professor. So if you don't mind me reading what he had to share about
No,
the
by all means, read it. In fact, is it possible to provide a link so I could throw it on the big screen?
uh I don't have the link on me now. The best that I have is
How would I search for it by name?
you can okay, so it's an academic paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Phenome O in Akkadian. Uh and you would just type in A dot Westenholz. I could spell that out for you if you don't mind.
Okay, the phenome O in Akkadian, as detailed in the Agay. I hope I'm not brutalizing that. Western Whole Study. Semantic Scholar. Is that the study you're referring to? Is it on Semantic Scholar?
I believe so. It looks like
Okay.
that link right there.
Okay. All right. Let me click that link. Okay. Is this what you're looking at?
You mind zooming in a little bit?
Yes. Let's go. How about that?
Uh, man. Is there a way you could like get the PDF of like the person I'm trying to quote from?
Let me see if I can do it this way because there's another link. Give me a second. What about this?
No, I don't think that one is either. I think if I give you the name of the person who if I spell the person's name out for you, I think you will get it.
Okay, what's the name? What's the person's name?
So I would type in A dot WESTONHOLZ.
All one name
Yes.
and PDF. Okay. Yeah, it's coming up as again Semantic Scholar. Let me. What about this?
Okay. Uh, mind scrolling down because it's a PDF and it's written on.
All right, I'll tell you what. For the sake of time,
Right.
explain it. Read and explain it to us, and I'll try my best.
Okay, so on the royal inscription of Tiglath-Pileser the third, uh, is an Assyrian king. He mentions the king of Judah, excuse me, Jehoahaz, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he writes down his name, and in Akkadian, right? I'm not too versed in Akkadian, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they don't have Y's and stuff in their language, right? he transcribes Jehoahaz's name as in the what you call it in the Latin. I'm gonna use Latin letters. A with a dash and a U apostrophe on top. So he writes down. I'm just writing down his quotes. The divine Hebrew name was repeatedly transcribed in the 8th century BCE Neo-Assyrian inscriptions with two signs. Iyah, which is what I just mentioned, the I and the A, which gives that Yah sound, and the dash U with the apostrophe on top, which are vocalized Yah-O, two syllables divided by an unwritten glottal stop. And where the U is transcribing a long O is proof. And then that's the name of the professor or whatever his name is, A. Osh Weston Holtz or
So
whatever.
if you could summarize his points, because it was hard for me to follow that. Summarize his points for us.
I'm
in a
gonna
way
come
that's
back because I can't hear you. I'm gonna come back.
Okay. Okay.
Jeez.
All right. It's already an hour gone. I only wanted to be here till max 7:30. Let's see. Let's see. In the meantime, family, thumb up the video, share the live stream, and do not forget to support the platform. This platform does a lot to influence the community, to help forward lateral move the community. In fact, what I wanted to say earlier is that kudos to TGC Ministries, which is Brother Deacon and Brother Hassad. Big shout out and respect to those two brothers. Doing a lot of work. They've been getting a lot of hate. And it takes a lot of courage to go against the grain. If anybody knows that, it's me. I've been going against the grain in the community from absolute day one. So I know what that lane is like. And it's not an easy lane. Sometimes you're all by yourself, but that's what a warrior is made out of. And that's who you know a leader is. You know, most people are sheeple. Let me say that. Most people are sheeple. They're afraid to stand out for that which is right on their own if need be. There are a lot of people in all walks of life, but I'm talking about the Israelite community in this moment, that will know something is wrong, but they're in more fear of being the only one to stand out against it, so they don't do it. And I just got to tell y'all, I don't know where they make men like that, but that's not what my mama and father made out of me. Because I don't care if it's a million people saying that right is left. I know right is right. I don't care if there's a million people saying that left is right. I know left is left. I don't care who they mama, they father, and they brother is saying whatever y'all saying. I'm going to go against you if and when I know it's wrong. And that's just who I've always been. So I want to say huge shout out to those brothers. And I also want to say this. There's been a lot of people in the Israelite community over the years that have used information from me verbatim and have never given me a citation. You know, that's what scholars do. It's not about ego. It's not about pride. When you're using someone's information, you cite your source. The most important reason for why you do that is if in the midst of misrepresenting what they're saying, and that will happen at some point, at least in citing the source, a person can go back to the source for clarity. Or because you're citing the source, which means you never did the original study on your own, there's only but so far you can go. So if a person wants to go further, they need to go back to the source. In the Israelite community, people will watch thousands of watch hours of your videos and then they'll wait a couple of months because, you know, if they do it tomorrow, it's going to be clear they took it from you. They'll wait a couple of months. They might even wait a full year, but rest assured, they're going to do your whole presentation. And to me, that's crazy. I've seen that. I've seen Brother Polite go on Vlad TV and run my whole presentation that I did on the name of the deity as it represents in Kemetic literature, Neter, Netcher, and Netchert. My entire breakdown that I did live on Sardetta TV, Brother Polite took and did on Vlad. Had not Sarah Seti, who was himself a Kemetic practitioner, had he not called Polite out for doing it, nobody would have even noticed that Polite took my whole presentation. And Seti is somebody that I had real smoke with in real life, in person. But yet he was honorable enough to call out a spade and said, nah, didn't Zion Lexx just present that whole presentation you did? You owe Zion Lexx a check, you and Vlad. So I say to TGC Ministries, big shout out to them, because when I reviewed their recent video on why they no longer accept the name Yahweh, I noticed that they referenced me. And that meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to me because it shows integrity. It meant a lot to me because for years, people have been doing this to me and have never given me credit. The same people that will talk bad about me are the same people using my information, teaching, and even making money off of it behind the scenes. Ain't that crazy? But these brothers actually mentioned me, and I respect it. I respect it. And I may even join their live stream sometime soon to add towards the presentation that they gave. And I also want to give credit to this platform, Zion Lexx TV, because as quiet as it's kept, you know, people are watching, people are learning, and our influence out here is heavy. Almost all of the tail end of 2025, I focused on attacking the misuse of the Hebrew language, and I also focused on the 12 tribes chart. And I noticed that that caused a major rift, and it really sparked something within a lot of people to go back to the drawing board and review this thing. And a lot of people changed as a result. And clearly, TGC Ministries, Deacon, Brother Hassad, is one of those people that have been influenced. And that's a great thing, because when I began to understand that Yeshua is in fact the Messiah that the Bible speaks about, it was due to my own studies, but there were seeds that were planted early on, namely by a brother named Priest Daniela. And notice, whenever you guys hear me tell how I change, I always mention Priest Daniela, because it's just honorable. If someone helped you, they could be used to help someone else. Why not mention them? But the problem in our community is people will listen to what you have to say, eventually realize you are right and they're wrong. Rather than tell you up front, they'll start sneakily teaching it behind the scenes. They'll wait a year or two, then they'll present the information on their own like you had no influence. And to me, that's corny. So shout out to Priest Daniela of the Lions of Israel for helping to plant the seeds in my mind to help me to rethink this thing about the New Testament and Yeshua, because look at where I'm at today. Sorry, good brother Hezekiah. I'm just moved right now. I'm in the spirit, as some say, and I just had to say that. But the floor is yours, good brother.
Nah, man, I'm just listening, man. It's very good, man. It's a very powerful thing that you leaning on others as well for information, because that's how we learn, and that's why this is why I'm here, and you breaking stuff down the way it is, I'm learning. That's why I came up here and say, hey, this is my teacher. This is not me trying to cause any strife or dissension or nothing like that. It's just to benefit first and foremost myself, and to a great extent the community. All right. So
Baruch
now that
Hashem.
that's out the way, I didn't hear what you had to say because the phone that I'm on right now, it's acting weird. I should have
Oh,
used my other
what I
phone.
was saying was, could you summarize what you read for us in an intelligible way? That way we can understand what you were reading.
All right. So unfortunately, I can't do that as of yet because I haven't gotten a grasp on the Akkadian
Okay.
language.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna
Okay.
be transparent there.
So if I'm understanding you now, then let me just add this really quick. So there is some scholarly study in the area of examining the Akkadian language and cross comparing it with that of ancient Hebrew to see that there may be something there towards the name Yahweh. Is that essentially what you're saying without going into the mechanics of it?
That's correct.
Okay.
Also in Egypt, and also I want to also mention this in sequential order after which one came first. So I got the first two out the way. Also in the Passover letter in the Elephantine Papyri, most Israelites don't know that before there was a tetragrammaton, there was actually a trigrammaton, right? The name of Yah was spelled, Yod, and then if I'm not mistaken, Hey, and then a Wow. That's how the
Mhm.
Israelites that were in Elephantine, that's how they wrote down the name of Yah.
Well, that's I would say that point is actually attested by grammarians and linguists because you see it in a lot of the theophoric names. A lot of the theophoric names bear witness to there being an older representation of what we're calling the tetragrammaton that is coming out of Yod Hey Vav. I've come across several studies from linguists and grammarians of Hebrew vernacular that show that in the theophoric name you can see that there may be an earlier triliteral root from which this is coming from, and not just the Yod Hey Vav Hey, the tetragrammaton.
Right.
Right.
So that's is that your explanation for how of how the Israelites will write the name of Yah in the Elephantine letters?
So no, I actually have a different understanding of why that is in the Elephantine letters. By the time of our presence in the Isle of Elephantine, there's a shift of theological dynamic. You have scholars
Right.
in the land of Israel, you have scholars in the land of Babylon, and there are competing rivalry for theological understanding of all things, the language, the culture, and even the history. So as a result, you have regional differences, right?
Mm.
You have regional differences as it pertains to the language, and you have regional differences as it pertains to the culture. I mean, all facets really of our way of life. You begin to see a lot of regional differences, and those regional differences develop because of our scattering, because of our exile. And that's just a fact of scatter and exile. Wherever you have a central nucleus people, the moment they begin to become diffuse and spread out, you're going to have regional differences.
Absolutely.
That's going to occur, right? So
Absolutely.
we can get into why that is and how that develops specifically, and with especially with respect to the name Yah. But I'd be curious to examine this Yahweh thing from Akkadian. I don't see it in Medu Neter, especially if it's based on the Soleb inscription, because that's a
Hmm.
W. It's not an O. That's a W. Scholars that are rendering it a O are not understanding Medu Neter properly, especially as it pertains to the time period. What I read on the screen uh, said very clearly that the O sound for the lasso is when we're translating Greek and Roman, but the Hebrew inscription on the, excuse me, the Medu Neter inscription on the Soleb, those are not Hebrew. Excuse me, those are not Greek or Roman names. Those are Hebrew names. And what we just read shows you that the lasso is used as an O when transliterating Greek and Roman, not Hebrew.
King. And
Right?
that's something that I didn't know until I came up on this platform. That's why I say,
Yeah.
you're my teacher. I'm learning from you. So the last manuscript the brother earlier that I was trying to bring out. He was trying to use the Dead Sea Scrolls manuscript 4Q 126 or 124, 120, one of those manuscripts. And it's a passage of Leviticus 26 written in Greek, if I'm not mistaken. Or yeah, I think it's in Greek. And they have the divine name transliterated, if you will, as I believe Iota, Alpha, and Omega. It has a glottal stop, and then it has Omega. Sometimes you can see Omicron, but still, they both, the Omega and the Omicron, still produce an O sound. So, you know,
Okay.
That's what he was trying to bring out. I wanted to share that with you. I'm not trying to take a position on that. I just kind of wanted to hear from your perspective on that matter.
Oh well, you know, I'm glad that it comes out because it's a great point. I don't want to say to debate, but to discuss. I would love to examine it more based on the available evidence. So that's why I asked him if he could bring out the actual inscriptions, whether it be in Greek, Hebrew, and he said he's more so used to using the Paleo. That's fine too. We could use that, but from there, I think the conversation would really initiate. Until then, we don't really have much to go by until we look at the manuscripts and be able to back translate them. Um, what was unique about the brother that came on is that his reading of Hebrew follows a more Aramaic um, structure, right? Anybody that knows Hebrew and Aramaic, when you hear that brother read the Hebrew, you can hear more Aramaic influence, which is why normally I would have corrected someone like him at several words that he pronounced, but I can hear the Aramaic influence just by the letter substitutions. I knew that he's mostly coming from an Aramaic school of thought. Maybe even if he's not even aware of that, because if I'm not mistaken, he said that he learned Hebrew from this particular teacher. So the teacher that taught it to him clearly is understanding Aramaic more than he is Hebrew, and that's fine too, because I can go in either direction because I know both Aramaic and Hebrew. But I would love again to see where the Dead Sea Scrolls attest to Yahweh. I know that using any Egyptian inscription is going to be ruled out. That's going to be ruled out immediately. You're not going to use an Egyptian inscription to co-sign Yahweh. If it exists, you could probably course compare it with something in Akkad through the Akkadian culture. You can probably go at the Dead Sea Scroll text if there's enough evidence in the text itself to support that was the pronunciation. But we'd have to actually look at the text itself to see what is a person going by to say that the Dead Sea Scroll text supports that translation. Right?
Dang.
Yeah.
I believe it's on Google. The manuscript of what the brother was bringing out. I'm pretty sure it's 4Q 126 of Leviticus.
4Q 126 Leviticus. And what am I going to type in? Yahweh?
No, you don't have to type in Yahweh.
Just 4Q 126 Leviticus. That's all I need to type.
Yep.
All right, I'll share my screen so you can see what I'm looking at. Can you see the screen?
Game.
All right, so help me. This is the AI overview. I'm scrolling.
Can you go on images? And
okay.
And am I clicking on that manuscript looking photo right?
Absolutely.
Is it possible you could zoom in, or?
Let me make sure that the people could see it on the screen. I just put it up on an alternate screen. So let me get to that alternate screen really quick. Okay. Can you see that?
Cain.
All right. So I'm gonna scroll slow. I'll start from the top, and you tell me.
No, it's not. This is not it. If you give me like a quick minute, I can come back with the link if you don't mind. Or
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you that. I mean, we done. Hold on.
because this text is in Hebrew. It's not
I
in Greek.
think I may have found it. Let's see. I'm gonna show you my new screen right now. I think I found what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's the one right there.
This is it. Okay.
Yep, Cain.
All right. So now, what are we looking at on the left side?
All right. You mind zooming in just a little bit more?
Yes. On the lean to the left or the right more? Where you want me?
To the left.
Okay.
Okay.
I could make it. I could blow it up more.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
All right. Oh, it's at max 500. It's at max. Yeah, it could at this point it could only get lower. It's at 500, which is max.
Okay. I mean that's fine. But I think I'm looking at. It's hard for me to just point it out.
Look where my arrow is. You see my arrow?
Yeah, I see it.
So that would be like line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, it's
6.
in line 5.
1, 2, 3, 4 here.
And
this it right in the middle?
I believe that's it right there.
Okay. So tell us what these 3 letters are.
It's hard to see from my end.
That's all right, because you know what it is, so just tell us what it is.
So I believe that's if I'm not mistaken, an iota.
Mm-hmm.
It's either iota or it looks like a triangle or delta. And then next one, the next letter next to it looks like an A.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be alpha. And that line would be a glottal stop. And then there would be like a omega or omicron. There's better pictures I wish I could share.
Okay, that's fine. If we look at the right, it looks like it brings us to the tetragrammaton.
Damn.
Correct? All right. So if this is the case, why is the tetragrammaton spelled in full and not 3 letters?
That I'm not sure of. I can't tell you that. Maybe it's the way the people are translating it.
Because I mean, just from a baseline understanding, I can clearly see that what's on the left, the manuscript, is transliterated in Greek, and then the one Hebrew word on the right. And the Hebrew word is translating what you're talking about, except the Hebrew word is spelled with 4 letters. Based on the argument you're presenting, it should be spelled with 3 letters.
Yeah, in Greek, in the original manuscript.
Right. In the original manuscript, it's 3. And if the original Hebrew was just 3, and the writers know this, that means on the right, the original should represent 3 instead of 4.
If I'm gonna be honest with you, I think this is a modern scholar's interpretation.
Okay. All right. I'll say this. If you want to come back where you have more information and you could present, you know my heart. You can actually have the show. You can take over the show. I'll actually interview you on the name and you can present. And I don't like to debate people when I'm interviewing them, but I'll probably ask you some questions. If it's a point of contention where it's that serious and it maybe warrants, some a trade off, maybe I might trade off. But respectfully, as everybody knows, whenever I interview people on Zion Lexx TV, I don't actually debate them. Even when I disagree with the information, I'm not going to sit there and debate them. I'm interviewing them. So I would love to see if you can bring this back with all of the available data that you need to be able to represent it properly, and then we could go from there.
Kane, I like I said, I just came on to, verify with you and see what you would have to say about that.
Yeah,
and I don't mind.
I'm very much against Yahweh as a pronunciation for not just to be a disagreeable Danny, just to disagree with people, as it were, but more so because now and I'll make the argument with you, right? I'll actually do that. I'll make the argument with you. I'll tell you what I would say. My first objection to Yahweh would have to be the translation and meaning. So if we now are saying that the Creator's name is Yahweh, just those 3 letters, then what is the meaning of the name if it's just those 3 letters?
Ooh, I'm not sure.
That would pose a problem because the text defines the meaning of the name, right? When we go to Numbers chapter 3, verse 16, it tells you the meaning of the name. So the text gives us a definition of what the name means. If we're just using 3 consonants now, we're saying that's the original, then it begs the question, for me at least, okay, if it's originally 3 and the pronunciation is Yahweh, well, I already know what Yahweh would mean in Hebrew. And I could tell you right now very boldly that it would be unrelated to the name of the Creator in meaning as we understand it. It would not have the meaning of the Eternal One. It would not have the meaning of He who was, who is, who shall be. It would actually change the meaning. So I think that's where, for me, things would get problematic. So it's one thing for a scholar to say, and I always welcome different of opinion because that's how I've grown over the years by listening to, and you've sat in the classes, so we watch videos and we review the content of everybody. Right? We don't leave no stone unturned. We research everything. You know that from being in this academy. That's what we do. So I'm not afraid to challenge my own thinking. But again, the point that I would raise is if we're saying that it's Yahweh, then we should understand that changes the meaning as we understand it. And then the question I would ask anyone that holds to the Yahweh is, do you know what that meaning is? That's the first question I would ask them, because I know what Yahweh means. So I would ask them, do you know what Yahweh means? Based on their ability to answer it, we can move to the second question, which is, what does the text say the name means? Because the text tells us what the name means. And that name is reflected in 4 letters, not 3. So when you change from 4 letters to 3, you're changing and shifting the meaning. The wav at the end does not have the same meaning as the hey at the end. That is effectively changing the meaning. I don't think when people make this position that they're even considering that point. It's one thing to say that, this scholar made a great point that based on this, that, and the third, the name could be Yahweh. I'm all for that. But did we stop to ask ourselves this question? Are we aware of the fact that changing the spelling will now change the meaning? And do we even know what that meaning is? And if we can't answer any of those questions, we're already in trouble.
Okay. I don't want to hold you for too long because I know you're pressed for time, but I got so much thought-provoking questions that I really would like to ask, but I guess that'll be for next time.
I'll tell you what, because I'm gonna be going live a lot. You guys know I have like my little splurts. I'm back on YouTube for a little bit, so I'll be going live a lot, especially this week. So you can come on as early as tomorrow if you want. Wednesday and Thursday is bad, but Friday is good. So you have tomorrow, you have Friday. and you even have Sunday as a possibility. I'll turn the show entirely to you, and you can present. And after you present, we can go into all those questions, or we could begin with all those questions that you might have. How does that sound?
Ooh, man, I would really like to do that. I would really like to do that.
That would be dope, man. That would be dope. That really would be dope. I would love to host that and have that here. So, it would be on you. You know my personal number. You have my phone number. Everybody don't get that, but I got love for you, and you could call me anytime. You have my personal number. You can set it up, man. We can do it as early as tomorrow, or Friday or Sunday, and if not any of those 3 days, then we'll figure it out sometime next week. But I'm
next week will be better for me, honestly.
All right. It gives you time to find everything too. So right. I get it. I get it, man. And I'm glad you asked it, because a lot of people have come to me over the years about the name. And if I'm honest, and I want to be brutally honest, there's things that we disagree with that at some point we develop a bias for because of our disagreement. And I want to admit that there's certain things that I'm biased about. And Yahweh is one of them. And the thing about me is I can overcome a bias if there's new information that could change my opinion. I don't have a problem. I've demonstrated that in the community that I can change my mind. But I want to admit I have a bias towards this because of my love for the language, my understanding of what that name means, and my understanding of how the pronunciation Yahweh changes that meaning. So I want to admit I really do have a bias for this, but in no way, shape, or form will that bias hinder me from overcoming it to give you an honest ear and just listen and watch and then judge after. Right? That's just wisdom. There's a lot of things that for years I thought I mastered. And when I went back and really gave it an earnest look, I realized I got something wrong. So if that's the case with this, I hope everybody knows, if I find out something like that, the next video I'm doing is I was wrong. The problem in our community is there's a lack of humility, man. Everybody got showmanship, but there's no humility. Your greatness is not in your wins. Your greatness is how you lose. That's your greatness. Everybody's going to win. It's inevitable at some point in your life you're going to win. Not unless your brother polite. I'm sorry. At every point in your life, you're gonna win. Right? A win is inevitable. Losses make champions, man. So I'm not afraid. I don't have those issues. If I'm wrong about something, I'm willing to say I'm wrong. That's how I've learned over the years. So let's do it right, man. You can come back sometime next week, or if you need even more time than that, just let me know, and we'll assess what you have to present, and we'll do it the right way.
Okay. Yeah, right. No doubt. I'll share what I have written down.
Yeah.
I'll get the pictures together and all that.
Yeah, I would love that, man. I would love that.
I definitely appreciate you. Sharing that soul love inscription thing with me, because I'm not really too knowledgeable in the metal nature just yet.
Did you when you were part of Learn Torah Hebrew Academy, did you sit in any of my metal nature classes?
Yeah, absolutely.
You did. Did we go over the lasso glyph? Do you remember?
Nah. We went over honorary transposition.
Right.
That's what I remember.
Honorific transpositions, right? We went over that. We went over light areas of grammar, right? I know you've seen me go into the Merneptah Stela, but you probably never seen me go in depth into the Soleb inscription.
No.
Right. I'm actually going to be doing that tonight. I don't know how much time I have because I have a Hebrew class that starts at 8:45, and I was trying to end this live stream by 7:30, and it didn't even start. I didn't even get to slide one. But I have a saying that man plans, but the Creator ultimately decides where things is going. So let His will be done.
Absolutely.
It was His will. I came in here with a whole plan to do what I wanted to do, but it's His will. Let His will be done. So I'm honored that you joined, good brother. We've had incredible builds behind the scenes. Even when we disagree, we're able to shine through those disagreements, hear each other out, and grow from it, man. And you're one of those people I really respect, man. So the floor is yours whenever you're ready, man. You know how to reach out to me. You got my personal number. We could jump on the phone, figure out a date. Even if you wanted to use that time to share more on the phone, you could do that too. But yeah, let's make it happen, man.
Kane, it's an honor, it's a blessing to hearing those words come from you. You know, I greatly appreciate that, man. But all praises go to the Most High, Yah, man.
Baruch Hashem, may His name be praised, may His name be blessed. All glory to the Father.
All right,
Man.
Nasi, I ain't gonna hold you for too long. Appreciate you having me on.
Baruch Hashem, take care. All right, y'all. So the Hebrew class, man. The Hebrew class. We got a biblical Hebrew class tonight at 8:45 p.m. I needed to get off this live stream by 7:30 to properly do what I needed to do with the Hebrew class. So I'm going to say at this point, for the people that have been here this long, we had almost at 1.400 people. I guess they left because we didn't even go into the presentation. So for those of you who stayed, I'm going to honor what I said I would do. And what I will do is Hebrew class, we're going to reschedule our Hebrew class. All right, we're going to reschedule our Hebrew class. Our Hebrew class is going to be a more in-depth study at what we're talking about now live. But I'm going to actually use this moment to go into what I wanted to present. Again, big shout out to Deacon and Hassad. All right, big shout out to those brothers, TGC Ministries, man. I mean, they're catching a lot of flack, man. A lot of people like them, a lot of people dislike them, a lot of people love them, a lot of people hate them. You gotta have tough skin when you come to serve the Almighty. That's for sure. You gotta have tough skin. So, are those brothers right with everything? I don't think so. And I'm not even saying that because I'm aware of all they teach. I'm just saying that because no man is right about everything they know, right? None of us are right about everything they know. There's always something we're wrong about because none of us are the creator. None of us are the Holy One of Israel. But where I see value in those brothers is their ability to change publicly. It's a difference in personality when a person is who they say they are in private and they are still that same person in public. And, to go against the grain in the Israelite community on certain topics, it's not easy, man. It's not easy. So to those of you who are giving them flack, man, relax, man. Relax. We've all been wrong about something, man. Even if they may be wrong about something they said, give them time to grow. But why is it the moment we disagree with somebody, they working for Satan, they working with Edomites, the CIA put together their presentation? I mean, some of the stuff that's floating online is just stupid. There's no nice way to say certain things. It's just stupid, man. And more than anybody, I know what that feeling is like, man. I've went through that in the Israelite community for a very long time now, and it's a travesty. But with that being said, let's get this going. We've been on live about an hour and 44 minutes. I didn't see anybody support the platform yet. I'm gonna do a quick roll call and give everybody enough time to drop a donation to support the platform. The presentation that I'm coming with is a powerful presentation. It will definitely help to bring the community to the next level, but it's a travesty when we always expect a person to do and we're not also willing to accommodate their time, their space, and their effort. So I'll ask with all due humility that the community donate to the platform, show your love, so that we can give a fire presentation. I usually do things like this for Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. every now and again I pop out and I give it to YouTube. Let's make it worthwhile, everybody. Let's make it worthwhile. So with that, I'm going to ask everybody to send a donation to the platform. The donation link is on the screen. We will start in a couple of moments. I'm going to share a quick video and we'll be right.
Shalom and welcome to Zion Lexx TV. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, and share the live stream. Become a member of Zion Lexx TV and unlock several hidden features and hidden videos. Also, you can donate to Zion Lexx TV at Cash App $Zion Lexx or via PayPal at zionlex@gmail.com. We also have an online academy entitled Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. Visit us on patreon.com/learntorah. Our gold tier membership gives you unlimited access to our special event lectures and our special live movie nights. Our platinum tier gives you unlimited access to our Torah class, Kabbalah class, patriarchs and matriarchs of the covenant classes, as well as understanding the New Testament via the oral tradition class. Our diamond tier gives you unlimited access to all of the previous tiers, as well as our most sought after class, our biblical Hebrew course. And finally, our highest tier, our sapphire tier, gives you unlimited access to all previous tiers, as well as our highly esteemed rabbinical course. Be sure to sign up today and check your tier membership so as to ensure you're getting access to the classes you desire. Thank you for visiting us here at Zion Lexx TV, and now back to our current live stream.
Did you know that a recent rabbinical court ruling could rewrite the history of millions of African Americans? The connection goes deeper than you might think. The Obadiah Alliance, a respected Sephardic rabbinical court, has officially recognized the Igbo Jews of Nigeria as descendants of the lost tribes of Israel. This groundbreaking declaration bridges a historical gap that scholars have debated for generations. The ruling draws from extensive historical evidence, DNA research, and preserved cultural practices that link the Igbo people to ancient Israel. The implications reach far beyond Nigeria's borders. During the transatlantic slave trade, a significant number of enslaved people were taken from Igbo territories. Many African Americans and Afro-Caribbeans today can trace their ancestry directly to these Igbo regions. This connection aligns with the biblical text of Deuteronomy 28:68, which some scholars interpret as a prophetic reference to the slave trade. The evidence suggests a profound historical narrative. Many African Americans and Afro-Caribbeans may be descendants of the lost tribes of Israel through their Igbo ancestry. This revelation challenges conventional historical perspectives and opens new avenues for understanding identity, heritage, and cultural connections across continents. Could this ruling reshape our understanding of not just African American history, but biblical history as well? Share your thoughts on this remarkable discovery.
Screens. All right, we're going to definitely get this presentation going. And here we go. Shout out to Risen Truth Seeker. I believe that's Aki Ryan. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I apologize. So I believe that's Aki Ryan. Shout out to Risen Truth Seeker. I see you. Thank you very much for your donation. All right. With that being said, I think we can effectively start. And so here we go. For a long time in the Israelite community, there's been a lot of talk about whether or not, he said, that's me, big salute. There's been a lot of talk about whether or not the name of the creator is Yod-He, Wav-He, or whether it's Ahayah. Now, I want to say that this inquisition only exists in the Israelite community. Other communities are not making that argument. right? Other communities are not making that argument. And that's something that we should consider. We should consider the point that if this is true, then anyone studying the Bible in Hebrew should be able to come to the same conclusion, right? Why is it that it's only the Israelite community that has this position? Now, I'm sure there's someone thinking that's because we got the truth, Doc, and the Creator's with us, so we're the only ones that could see. I know somebody's thinking that, but that's not always the case for those of you who may be thinking that. It could possibly be that our community could very well be poorly trained in the language, and that's the reason why we struggle and are having a lot of issues in understanding points that are pretty much, I want to say this with respect, elementary in most scholarly circles, but our community seems to struggle with a lot of those points. And the problem is no one wants to commit themselves to learn under someone that actually knows that position, right? Especially as it pertains to the language. If I had $1 for every Israelite that I argued with about the language, and then about 20 minutes into arguing, I asked them, can you read Hebrew? And they say, no. The hell we arguing about? Do you understand the grammar, the morphology, the syntax? And they say, no. And that be the problem right there, a lack of humility, because when I don't know something, I'm a learner and I'm a listener. When I don't know something, I'm a learner and I'm a listener, but that be the problem in our community. Even without knowing for sure, even without having a fundamental and baseline understanding, people will challenge you based on belief alone, void of scholarship. And so I think that that's a travesty in our community. All right, here we go. Why the name Ahayah is not the true name of God, an historical and grammatical look. Without fail, there's always someone that doesn't know I've actually authored books. So let me use the time to steer you guys in the direction of where you can find my books. You can look up my books on Amazon. You can look them up at Barnes & Nobles. You can look it up under my name, Zion Lexx. Or you can look it up under my actual Hebrew name, which is Avdiel Ben Levi. That's Avdiel Ben Levi. And my name means servant of God, Avdiel. It can be found in 1 Chronicles chapter 5, verse 15, Avdiel. Right? Very, very easy name to find. Avdiel Ben Levi is how you're able to find all of my books on either Amazon or Barnes & Nobles. I'll give you my books in the order that I've written them. It was written and engraved, a series of essays from the blueprint of creation to the transatlantic slave trade, ancient Kemet on trial, where I'm looking at, the origins of Kemetic religion and culture as it pertains to the conversation of who authored what when. That book is a refutation against people citing that the Bible is stolen from Kemetic theology and ideology. This book answers it in a very unique way. From there, I go on to author a book entitled The DNA of Sound, where I'm breaking down the Hebrew language from Aleph to Tav. There are exactly 22 chapters in this book, a chapter for each letter of the Hebrew alphabet. From there, I go on to write a book entitled Matriarchs of the Covenant. This is my response to a community that has a very, very poor way of valuing the contribution of women, a community that has a very, very poor way of understanding the value of women in spiritual spaces. And me being a father of twin girls who are now 21 years old, even at the time when I was writing it, I understood that I don't want my daughters born into a community where the education and understanding for how we see women is so low vibrational, and my daughters, God forbid, will be subject to men or even women thinking like that, I knew that I would have to do something about that. So the inspiration for writing Matriarchs of the Covenant is the fact that I'm a father of twin daughters, and I don't want my children around any weirdo Israelites that's going to have my daughters thinking that they're oppressed and that they have no value apart from the kitchen, making some fringes, and that's the best that they could be. They're going to make some fringe garments, they're going to make some feast close garments, and that's the end of their contribution. Because who the hell is Deborah? The text says she's a judge. The text says she's a prophetess. But y'all out here telling these women, make the feast garments, focus on making them fringe vests, and that's it. We don't need to hear from you apart from that. And I said, oh, hell no. Not my daughters. My daughters are outrun most of y'all when it comes to understanding this book and even the language. So I want to say in a very, very real way that the women are the future of any nation. And the rise of any nation is always predicated on the way women are valued. And if we're not understanding that, we're in a lot of trouble. And then, so the next book I go on to author is The Star of David Controversy. In the book, The Star of David Controversy, I tackle the issue of whether or not the Star of David is a symbol that belongs to us. There's a lot of ideology out there that says that it's the star of Molech. I'm aware of those who believe it and those who teach it. And I'm aware of what the points are that are made. And I happen to disagree with that point. And I took my disagreement and I penned it in the book entitled The Star of David Controversy. Even if after having read that book, you still arrive at your original conclusion, which is you disagree, I still can guarantee you this. It's an incredible read. Get the book. From there, I go on to pen Patriarchs of the Covenant. Matriarchs of the Covenant was so well written and so well received that man, woman, and even child requested that I do one for the men. So I wrote Patriarchs of the Covenant, where I'm highlighting all of the contributions and achievements of the men in the book, just as in Matriarchs of the Covenant, I highlight all of the achievements of the women of the book. From there, I go on to author what I personally consider are my two greatest works. And they're the last books that I've written thus far. And they are the Messiah Codex, Volume 1, and the Messiah Codex, Volume 2. I want to say right now, if you've never read any of those books, I don't know what planet you've been occupying since they've been written. They are game changers on the topic of who the Messiah is and what his name is. Even if you think you mastered the topic and you disagree with my position, I would still tell you, read the book. Disagreeing from a place of ignorance is just that. You ignorant. Disagreeing from a place of ignorance is just that. You ignorant. At least disagree from a place of having knowledge. All right. With that being said, let's move. The name Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh in history, language, and theology. The name Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, often referred to as the Tetragrammaton, holds significant importance in history, language, and theology. In historical terms, Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh is the biblical name of God in ancient Hebrew texts, most notably in the Hebrew Bible or Old Testament. The name is considered sacred and ineffable, originating from a tradition where it was believed too holy to be spoken aloud. Over time, this reverence led to the development of substitute names like Adonai, meaning Lord, and the tradition of using Hashem, meaning the name, in Jewish contexts. Linguistically, Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh is intriguing due to its root stemming from the Hebrew verb to be, suggesting a meaning related to existence or being, often interpreted as I am that I am, or he who causes to be. Theologically, Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh signifies the personal, covenantal God of Israel, emphasizing attributes such as eternal existence, sovereignty, and a unique relationship with his people. Its profound impact is evident in various religious texts and practices, shaping the understanding of God in Judaism and influencing Christian and Islamic thought. There we go. The divine name, commonly rendered as Yahweh in academic scholarship, stands at the center of Israelite theology, biblical revelation, and later rabbinic reflection. Its origin, however, has been the subject of intense scholarly debate across fields such as Near Eastern archaeology, Semitic linguistics, and comparative religion. The question is not merely linguistic. It touches on identity, revelation, and a distinction between Israelite faith and surrounding ancient cultures. What follows is a structured, evidence-based exposition engaging primary inscriptions, ancient Near Eastern parallels, and the conclusions of leading scholars, while also addressing popular claims, especially the notion that the Tetragrammaton was borrowed or is somehow equivalent to a malevolent entity. Why did I say that? There's a group. They're known as GOCC, and they're headed by an elder by the name of Rakal. And I don't have any personal relationship with Elder Rakal. I'm aware of who he is. We've shared the same space at a lecture years ago, and I want to say 2016 at an event that we had. He spoke. My teacher spoke. Principal. Elder Gabar was the host. Elder Gabar, formerly of GOCC, was the host. I spoke. Priest Daniela spoke. And several others spoke. And that was my last time seeing him in person. And I believe that was my first time seeing him in person. So that was my first and last time ever being in the same room and space with him. I don't know him at all, apart from what I see on YouTube. So that leads me to make this statement. There are a lot of people that are in leadership because they are effective leaders. But I want to make something clear. In an educational setting, in a religious, spiritual wisdom setting, being a leader is not always about being the person that's right. Being a leader is about having a cult following. There's a lot of people that have a cult following and don't make no damn sense when they open their mouth. And Elder Rakal is one of those people, especially when it comes to the language. I remember years ago, Dr. James White completely annihilated, discombobulated, embarrassed him on the Hebrew language. He's debating Dr. James White on a particular point based on Hebrew. He starts referencing the Strongs. Dr. James White says, and I quote, "I don't got to read the Strongs. I teach biblical Hebrew." For a lot of people, you may not understand that, because for a lot of people that don't know Hebrew, you don't know that Strong's it's a good tool for a novice and a beginner, but it's replete with errors, and no real scholar sets their understanding of the language around Strong's. Strong's is a useful tool, especially when communicating with a certain audience, but let's be real. To people that really understand the language, Strong's is like training wheels. So Dr. James White saw blood when he heard Elder Rakal of GOCC say, if we go to the Strongs agrees with me here. Dr. James White said the Strongs Homeboy, I teach biblical Hebrew. Strong's is for you, the novice. So again, I don't want to bash Elder Rakar. I don't want to bash him. But I do want to say that he, like many others, are guilty of misleading the people for a very, very long time. And we're all guilty of that to a certain extent. That's the humility speaking, right? When I went against Yeshua as the Messiah, he's leading the people. Hopefully he too is not maliciously, purposely misleading the people. All right. Hopefully he's not. But I want to say that anytime you're in a public space and you're teaching wrong, whether it's your intention or not, you're still misleading the people. And I want to say, if we're all genuinely honest, all of us as teachers are guilty of that, because at some point we've said something that's wrong and we are effectively, in that instance, guilty of misleading the people. Where it becomes nasty work, as some would say, is when you are conscious of it and you are even doing it with malicious intent. And I don't know him personally to be able to say that. All right. I don't know him personally to be able to say that, but I still want to say that he is guilty of misleading people, because as you guys are going to see with this presentation, that using the name Ahayah and saying that that's the real name of the creator, then you go to step further and say Yahweh or the Tetragrammaton is not only not the name of the creator, but it's satanic in origin. Well, now you're just dumb as hell. And I know, Zion, you don't got to say it like that. There's another way, but I'm old school. We gonna call a spade with certain things. I don't come to straddle the fence with saying things the way they need to be said at certain times. So I just want to give a quick disclaimer. Maybe Zion Lexx TV ain't for you, and that's fine. But with certain points that I need to make it in the spirit that I'm feeling it. I need to say it the way that I'm feeling it. And I said it the way I felt it, because that's how it needs to be said. And sometimes tough talk is needed for a hard head. A hard head don't understand all that light talking. So sometimes you got to talk a little tough. All right. Maybe Zion Lexx TV isn't for everybody, but over here, we're going to talk to grown folk in a way that reaches everybody. All right, there we go. The earliest historical attestations of the Tetragrammaton. Now, problem number one for people like Elder Rakar of GOCC. When you make such a claim that the Tetragrammaton is satanic and that the Edomite Jew is responsible for supplanting that information, and you even go on to say that Onkelos, who you say is an Edomite Jew as well, I don't know how that works, is also responsible, now you have a problem. Because when you name the name Onkelos, Elder Rakar, in one of your videos, and you list him as your oldest source for when this name was supplanted Yahweh and it's satanic in origin, you're in trouble. Because what happens when I find the Tetragrammaton in earlier sources used by Israelites, used by people other than Israelites, to reflect that that's the God that the Israelites worship? You got a problem now. You can no longer say, oh, the European Jew gave that to us. The European Jew was not around the time that the Kemetic kingdom is an actual state. The European Jew is not around the time when we are interacting with various peoples. So when you make certain statements, you got to come from a place of scholarship, not, oh, I seen this in the Jewish encyclopedia. It doesn't make any sense. All right, it doesn't make any sense. Shout out to my good brother, Chief Uzael. I see you, Chief. What I did is, it's not frozen. I have it blurred. It's not frozen, Chief. I have it blurred. I have it blurred so that everybody is reading it at the same time I'm reading it, and nobody's reading ahead, because I want to make points that have impact. And if the community reads it before I read it, it will lose some of the impact. So I have it blurred. But we're gonna get there. Shout out to you, Chief Uzael, my big brother. Big shout out to you. If I could use the opportunity in the space, I will say this. There was a time when I was alienated in the community, and there was nobody that was messing with me on no side. Israelites wasn't really messing with me in the Old Testament community. Messianic Israelites definitely wasn't messing with me because of my history of how I dealt with them. And Chief Uzael said, I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to turn that camera on. I'm going to point the microphone, and you're going to tell your story from your point of view. I'm paraphrasing. If that helps to change the narrative, then that's a good thing. If not, then that's still a good thing, because the will of the Creator will be done. But I'm going to give you a fair shot and opportunity to tell your story. And I got to say this publicly. I always say this to him privately. I got to say this to him publicly. Had not the Creator used Chief Uzael at that time to effectively give me a voice when nobody wanted to give me a voice, Zion Lexx as a name, as a personality, more than likely would have been a thing of the past. Big shout out to Chief Uzael Ben Levy, my brother from another. We go way back. I first met him in the year 1995. When we were both much younger men in the Israelite community. And I seen him teach. And he was the first among the first people around my age that inspired me, that I looked up to, and I still look up to. And differences always exist. Theological differences, differences of opinion. But here's a difference that will never change. My respect and love for that brother. He's a genuine brother. Make sure you guys subscribe to DCB channel on YouTube. Make sure you guys subscribe to Uziel Levy on YouTube. We know each other 30 plus years. He's been in the Israelite community even longer than I. I believe he came in 1989 or 1988, and I came in 1994. And we met in 1995. Make sure you guys follow him. All right, here we go. The earliest historical attestations of Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh. The earliest extra-biblical references to Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, the Tetragrammaton, appear not in the land of Israel proper, but in Egyptian inscriptions from the late Bronze Age. So the earliest references to the Tetragrammaton is from the late Bronze Age period in Egyptian inscriptions. No Edomites, Egyptian. Egyptian topographical lists, circa 14th to 13th century BCE. The most widely cited evidence comes from inscriptions at Soleb and Amara West under Nisut, or Pharaoh Amenhotep III. Amenhotep III. These inscriptions refer to a group called Ta Shasu Yahweh, which is the land of the Shasu of Yahweh, right? Shasu is a reference to a nomadic people. Shasu is the Egyptian way of rendering Hebrew. There's a number of ways that the Egyptians reference us in history. There are times that they actually do call us Hebrew. They call us the Apiru. Sometimes we are referred to as the Habiru, and sometimes they refer to us as the Shasu. The Shasu is their rendering, their way of saying a nomadic people. So they refer to us in the Soleb inscription as the people of the land of the Shasu of Yahweh. All right, we're going to see that inscription in a couple of moments. I'm going to break down the Medu Neter when we get there. In the book entitled Family, Religion in Babylonia, Syria, and Israel, 1996, page 215, Karel van der Toorn writes, the Egyptian texts mention a region associated with the name Yahweh, which many scholars identify with Yahweh. In the book entitled Egypt, Canaan, and Israel in Ancient Times, 1992, page 272, Donald B. Redford notes, Yahweh in the Egyptian list is most plausibly to be connected with the later Yahweh, or Yod-Heh-Wav in the Egyptian list is most plausibly to be connected with the later Yahweh. This suggests that the name Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh was associated with a southern region, Edom, Midian, and Seir, rather than early Canaanite urban centers. Why is that important? There are people that like to posit that the name Yahweh is of Canaanite origin, and the Canaanite god Yahweh is somehow connected to some satanic cult. This is mainly the teachings of GOCC, and I'm going to show you the next couple of minutes that it is severely flawed. It is severely flawed, as you'll see. Okay, so this is the Soleb inscription, everyone. On the right, you will see a person depicted as a biblical Israelite. You have let me see if I can, well, with this, I won't be able to blow it up. I can. There we go. I could teach on here, huh? All right, there we go. All right. If you guys could see the hand on the screen, let me know, because I really want to go in teaching mode. If you guys could see my hand on the screen, let me know, because I want to go through the Medu Neter inscriptions and teach you guys something. Let me know in the comment section if you guys are able to see that hand. If not, I'm going to assume I can't really go through it like I would like to. All right, so please do let me know. Please do let me know. Okay, excellent. So the first glyph at the very, very top that looks like a line or the minus sign, that's the Egyptian glyph for land. It's called Ta. Ta. It's how the Egyptians say land. So the first thing this inscription says is land. Then we have below it the marsh glyph, which gives you the SH sound. So that's SH. Then we have the glyph that gives you the Su, as in the Su plant. So we have the Su plant here. So together this says Shasu. And the quail chick, which can function as a W, or it can function as the vowel U or U. It is adding to this pronunciation, which is the Su plant or the U. So together this says Shasu. So together we have Ta, Shasu. Right below that, we have the double reed leaf. The double reed leaf gives you a Y. Next to that, you have an aerial view of a house. Like imagine being a helicopter or in a plane and looking down at a house. This looks like an aerial view of a house. This is the Egyptian sign, the Medu Neter symbol for an H. Okay, so the double reed leaf is a Y, and together with the aerial view of the house, you have an H. So that's YH. Then you have the lasso glyph, right? But here is something that is interesting. The people who like to say that this inscription is proof that God's name was originally pronounced Yahweh, because this happens to be the oldest historical reference to the name Yahweh or the Tetragrammaton in history. This is the oldest historical reference to it. And because it's the oldest historical reference and it contains the lasso, which can be an O, people who are flunky in the Medu will say things like, oh, that's the O sound, so the name must be Yah-O. But we have a problem, Houston, because the way that Medu is read, it's read based on the direction that things are facing. So when Medu is written in columns, you always start at the top, you never start at the bottom. And you always start with the glyph that's out first. So you have the land again, which is Ta. You have the marsh glyph, which is SH. And the next glyph is not the quail chick. It's not the U. It's the Sioux plant. That comes before the quail chick. You see the direction that the quail chick is facing? It's facing right. In Medu the language is always read beginning in the direction that things are facing. So because the quail chick is facing right, you start the reading at the right, which means the Sioux plant is read first. That's how we have Sha Su. Then we have the reading of the double reed leaf. We're going to say the Y first. We're not going to say the H first. We're going to say the Y. So that's YH. So why are people saying YHO when clearly the lasso is behind the quail chick? I hope somebody's listening. The lasso is behind the quail chick. That means the quail chick, remember what it can give you. It can give you a W or it can give you an U. So together this is YHW. Then you have what can function as an O, or you have what can function as a who. So here is what I tell people is interesting about this inscription. There are people that say that the name of the creator should be pronounced Yahuwah. There are people that say the name of the creator should be pronounced Yah-O. Of those two pronunciations, the only one that I would actually give credence to, even though it is grammatically incorrect based on the meaning of God's name, is Yahuwah. Why? Because the oldest Egyptian inscription of God's name actually reads more like Yahuwah. Let me show you. YHUW. YHW, the quail chick, and then you have this that can function as an U too. So this actually can be read as Yahuwah. Yahuwah. The problem is Medu, like Hebrew, does not contain diacritical marks in the text originally, which means in order to ascertain how this is pronounced, you either have to understand the rules of Egyptian grammar, which the rules of Egyptian grammar, as I understand it, is actually telling me to say Yah W U, which is Yah Wu. There is no rendition of the creator's name as Yah Wu in history. So that wouldn't be right. So how are the Egyptians using the lasso? Remember, the lasso can be a W or it can mean an O. But the lasso can only be the O when it's transliterating during the Greco-Roman period in names like Cleopatra, in names like Pharaoh, right? You're not going to see this in ancient Egyptian inscriptions as an O. That's not typical. You're not going to see that. So again, you have Y, you have H, you have W, and you have in some alternate ways we can understand this. You're not going to say it's O because of the time period. It's the end of the Bronze Age period, 14th to the 13th century BCE. This is far removed from a period where this is being pronounced as an O. So that's automatically wrong. It can only be a W or an U. And it is not really used as an U even at this period, which adds to a little confusion, if I'll be honest. Because based on the way the Egyptians wrote it, this would be the correct consonantal representation. Y, H, W, W, which poses a problem because the name of the creator is not YHWW. So that means this is functioning as a vowel. But what vowel? It's too early to be the O. What vowel could it represent utilizing Egyptian grammar and Hebrew grammar? That would be A. So that means the oldest attestation of the name of the Creator in Egypt would actually reflect what the modern usage is, which is Yahweh. I hope everybody is understanding that. I hope I didn't lose nobody on that point. The Egyptian translation here, the Egyptian transliteration here of the name of the Creator, the best configuration of this would be to say the Ta Shasu Yahweh, which is exactly how the scholarly consensus interprets it. The scholarly consensus does not say Ta Shasu Yahweh. The scholarly consensus does not say Ta Shasu Yahuwah. The scholarly consensus says Ta Shasu Yahweh. After reading Medu Neter and studying it with a teacher for several years now, I now understand why Medu Neter scholars are rendering it as Yahweh. Perfectly understand that. And I can also tell you it's impossible to get Yahweh from this. I hope everybody's paying attention. All right. Next slide. Early Israelite inscriptions from the Iron Age between the 9th and 8th century BCE. Later inscriptions confirm the Tetragrammaton as the national deity of Israel. Why is this point interesting? Elder Rakah of GLCC teaches that we never use the name Yahweh. It's of Canaanite origin. It's actually a Canaanite god, and it's satanic. Why he's saying all of that is weird to me because no scholar is saying that. But I mean, you can find it in a book, but I'm not sure if ChatGPT needs to enlighten people that anybody can write a book. That's not something new with ChatGPT today. That's always been a thing. Anybody can write a book. The question is, how scholarly is your book? So sometimes you'll have people gain information from a book, and because they read it in a book, they now run as if it's a scholarly work. That's not how scholarship works. If an idiot writes a book and puts completely ignorant ideas in there, that's a scholarly work because it's in a book. So that's what happens in the Israelite community oftentimes. Oh, it's in a book. Scholars are saying this. No, the person that wrote the book saying that. Is the person that wrote the book a scholar? How are we vetting scholarship? What it was their scholarly method? Until you answer those questions, the best you could tell me is it was written in a book, but you're not telling me it was written by a scholar. Later inscriptions confirm Yod-Heh Wav-Heh as the national deity of Israel. You have the Kontelet Ajrud inscriptions, Yod-Heh Wav-Heh of Samaria, and Yod-Heh Wav-Heh of Taman. Why is that interesting? There's an inscription dated from the 9th to the 8th century BCE in the land of Canaan that refers to Yahweh of Samaria and Yahweh of Taman. Does that ring a bell for anybody? Anybody remember what Moses says about the Creator, where he came from? You're going to see in a couple of moments. These inscriptions leave no doubt that Yahweh was widely venerated as the God of Israel. This is in the book entitled Did God Have a Wife? 2005, page 176 by William G. Dever. So these inscriptions actually affirm that the oldest attestation for Yahweh is in association in Samaria and Taman, non-Canaanite cities at that time in history. And these are the oldest attestations of the term Yahweh. Now, the fact that these attestations say Yahweh of Samaria and Yahweh of Taman should have told you something if you really read the Torah. Was Yahweh known outside Israel, Egypt, Ugarit, and Mesopotamia? Egyptian sources confirm awareness of a region or people linked to Yod-He Wav or Yahweh, but do not describe Yahweh as part of Egyptian religion. He is external, not integrated into their pantheon. So that means Egyptians do acknowledge a deity called Yahweh, but they consider that deity as foreign. And even when they write the Yahweh in the Medu Neter, they write it including the foreign. Let me see if I can show you that right now. Give me a second. I'm going to show you that live. If you're enjoying this video, thumb up the video, share the live stream. Don't be afraid to donate to the platform. Don't be afraid to donate to the platform. Let me show you what I'm talking about. There's a determinative connected to how the Egyptians render Yod-He. And that determinative shows you that it's not of Egyptian origin. They use something in that determinative that makes it clear that it's not of Egyptian origin. Let me see if I can show you this. I brought this out when I had a conversation with Asar Imhotep about this through my platform, and then on his platform, we were talking to each other without talking directly because he didn't have the gall to actually debate me. He would just do a video, so I did video responses. That's how scholars sometimes talk, to let the work speak for itself. I get it. Here we go. You guys should be able to see my screen in a couple of moments. Let me just get rid of some of this stuff. All right. Okay. This is the name Yah as represented in the Medu Neter. Okay. You have the single reed leaf, which is an I. You have the outstretched arm, which is an A. You have the twisted flax, which is an H. And then you have the determinative for the moon, the crescent. This crescent, this moon crescent, is used to represent foreign deities in ancient Egyptian literature. So the creator's name, and it's pronounced here as Ahayah, right? Which is actually no different from the Akkadian pronunciations that you see. The Akkadian pronunciation of YAH is Ahayah, and that's how the Egyptians render it. And the determinative for the moon is acknowledging that this is a foreign deity in Egypt. There's another inscription with the name Yah in Egypt that actually uses the foreign determinative. Let me see if it's on the screen. There is another inscription that actually uses the foreign determinative as opposed to simply the moon. I'll bring it back on another live stream if I don't see it here. All right, I'll do that. I'll bring it back on another live stream. That's no biggie. There we go. All right. So again, Egyptian sources confirm awareness of a region or people that are linked to Yahweh, but they do not describe Yahweh as part of Egyptian religion. So seeing Yahweh in Egypt doesn't mean that Yahweh was worshipped by the Egyptians, that was their God, and we stole it. No, the way that they represent him in literature is showing you that he's foreign to the Egyptians. He is external, not integrated into their pantheon. Now, the question now is, do we see Yahweh mentioned in Ugaritic texts? Texts from Ugarit, the 13th century BCE, provide detailed records of the Canaanite pantheon. And who's missing? El, Baal, Asherah, Anat. Who don't we see? Yahweh. Ugarit was a major academic center for the early Canaanites. I'm going to say it again. Ugarit, the city of Ugarit, was a major academic center for the early Canaanites. You can find the names of every Canaanite deity worshipped by the Canaanites in Ugaritic literature except for Yahweh. While Canaanites knew who Yahweh was, while even at some times they, at a certain junction, and the certain junction I'm mentioning is with the influx of the Israelites coming in the land, they begin to try to assimilate Yahweh into their pantheon, but he's rejected by the Canaanites. Yahweh is ultimately rejected by the Canaanites as a deity. Due to the influx of Israelites coming into the land, eventually Canaanites begin to try to assimilate the worship of Yahweh, but that's ultimately rejected because it does not reflect the old. It does not reflect the origin. The city of Ugarit, as the academic center of ancient Canaanite religion, culture, and even history, does not contain references to Yahweh. You can see El, you can see Baal, you can see Asherah, you can even see Anat, but you do not see Yahweh. That is striking. It is telling you he is not originally worshipped by the Canaanites. It's through the influx of us coming into the land that they're even aware of Yahweh, and they begin to try to adopt him as a storm god. So some of you may have heard that Yahweh is originally a storm god that was worshipped in Egypt. Whenever people make that point, I need you to do something that's scholarly. Ask them for a chronological timeline, because here's what you'll notice. The timeline that you see Canaanites speaking of Yahweh as a storm god, we are already in the land. Israelites are in the land at that period. We introduce Yahweh in that region, not the other way around. This is real scholarship. Here we go. Yahweh does not appear in Ugaritic texts. Mark S. Smith states in his book, The Early History of God, 2nd edition, 2002, page 32, Yahweh is absent from the Ugaritic text, suggesting a different origin, not of Canaanite origin. All right, moderators, if anybody is asking to be timed out, please, moderators, introduce them to the timeout button. If anybody's asking to be timed out, moderators, please introduce them to the timeout button. All right. Mesopotamia, Sumer, and Akkad. No direct attestations of Yahweh exists in Sumerian or Akkadian texts. John Day writes, there is no evidence that Yahweh was worshipped in Mesopotamia. And this is in the book Yahweh and the Gods and Goddesses of Canaan, 2000, printed in 2000, page 13 by John Day. Here we go. Right? From what period do you see Yahweh being depicted as a storm god? Always ask that question. You always hear people say, oh, Yahweh was a god that was worshipped in Egypt. Oh, really? Yeah, there's a reference to him in Egyptian literature. Did you read it? Yeah, I read it. Do you read Medu Neter? Well, I don't read the hieroglyphs. So how you read it and you don't read the hieroglyphs? Just say what it is. You saw somebody speaking of it and they made mention of it and you're quoting them. That's what's happening here, right? Of course, that's what's happening. So it begs the question now, when Yahweh is represented in Egyptian texts by the term Yah, is there a determinative, which is a language classifier telling you how to understand the word? Is there a determinative there present indicating whether or not this God is of Egyptian origin or foreigner? And the answer is yes. There's a determinative in the ancient Egyptian literature when Yah is represented, and it lets you know he is not of Egyptian origin. So you cannot say that Yahweh belongs to Egypt. If you're going to make the argument that Yahweh is of Canaanite origin, show us the Canaanite attestations for Yahweh. And immediately notice this. There's no Canaanite attestation for Yahweh before Israelites are in that land. The attestations for Yahweh that you see in the land of Canaan come after Israelites are in the land. This is the point where I would say, got him. Here we go. Did Yahweh originate in the Canaanite pantheon? This is where nuance is critical. Distinction from the Canaanite pantheon. Canaanite religion centered on El as the high god and Baal as the storm deity. Yahweh is not listed among them in primary sources. There are attestations of Yahweh in Canaan, but it's never a primary source. It's always a later writer saying, oh, at a certain junction, Yahweh is associated with the god of the storms. And anybody that studied Canaanite religion, the religion of the Canaanite pantheon, you know that the storm god is Baal. It is not until the children of Israel begin to make incursions into the land of Canaan that Canaanites begin to witness the power of God and attribute it to their deity Baal, and they begin to assimilate Yahweh for Baal, not the other way around. We didn't borrow from them, they borrowed from us. Always ask for chronology when people are talking history. If this came from this, please tell me what period you're talking about. Possible southern origin. This is what I was alluding to earlier. Edom Midian hypothesis. In the book entitled Canaanite Myth and Hebrew Epic, printed in 1973 on page 60, Frank Moore Cross writes, Yahweh's earliest associations appear to lie in the south, either in Edom or Midian. That's the first places you begin to see references to Yahweh in the land of Canaan. What should that tell you if you have any knowledge of Canaanites in history? Canaanites' academic centers are not in the south. If you want to, when I say south, I mean the southern portions of the land. If you want to really get into Canaanite history, you have to travel further up north. One of the main parts of the land of Canaan that is really key to understanding Canaanite culture and history is the city of Ugarit. Ugarit lists every Canaanite deity by name. Yahweh is not there. Yahweh would have been a powerful god. Baal is associated with the storm. He certainly holds a powerful position among the Canaanite pantheon. At a certain point, Baal is substituted with Yahweh by the Canaanites, but the question begs, from what period? Is it a period before Israelites come? Because then you might have a plausible argument that we may have borrowed. But if that period is after we got there, then the argument is very plausible that we inspired that, not the other way around. Now watch where history meets the biblical narrative. According to history, the earliest associations of Yahweh lies in the south, in Edom or Midian. Watch this. Even the biblical text supports this. What does Deuteronomy 33:2 says? Yahweh came from Sinai. Where's Sinai? Oh, adjacent to the southern portion of the land. Then it goes on to say from Seir. Oh, where's Mount Seir? That's Edom. Where's Paran? That's Midian. What are we now saying? The historical record perfectly reflects what we see in the Bible, Deuteronomy 33:2. Here we go. Convergence with El. Over time, Israelite theology identified Yahweh with El, the high God. Mark Smith, in the book, The Origins of Biblical Monotheism, printed 2001 on page 145, Yahweh and El were originally distinct, but later became identified. Okay. Did Israel borrow Yahweh from Canaanite religion? It is not academically sound to claim this without error. I'm going to repeat that for the people in the cheap seats. Did Israel borrow Yahweh from Canaanite religion? It is not academically sound to make that claim without error. Why this claim fails? The absence of Yahweh in Ugaritic texts, the chief academic center. No Yahweh in Canaanite pantheon is ever listed. Southern attestation in Egyptian records. Distinct theological trajectory. Ethical monotheism versus mythological polytheism. In the book Yahweh and the Gods and Goddesses of Canaan, printed 2000 on page 47, John Day writes, "It is too simplistic to say Israel borrowed Yahweh from the Canaanites." Mark S. Smith clarifies that Israelite religion interacted with, but did not merely copy its environment. Yes, we interacted with them, but we did not copy them. It is only when the children of Israel lose their way that they began to serve the Canaanite gods. Only when they began to lose their way. What would be the balanced scholarly conclusion based on the evidence provided thus far? Israelite religion emerged within a shared cultural matrix, yet developed a distinct identity centered on Yahweh as the sole God, or in Hebrew, Elohim. The claim that Yahweh is Satan. Oh my. Elder Recall of GOCC makes the brash claim that Yahweh is satanic in origin, supplanted by the Edomites. The earliest person that he charges with giving us this name is Onkelos, the convert, which he assumes convert means he's an Edomite. Now, this is what I meant earlier when I said, don't confuse cult following with real scholar and teacher. Any idiot can have a cult following. Not every cult following has as its leader a scholar and a teacher. The claim that Yahweh is Satan, origins and refutation. This claim is not found in the Tanakh. The Tanakh does not present this claim. Second Temple literature does not support it. It's not referenced in Talmudic or Midrashic sources. It is a modern day polemical theory. Biblical distinction. In the Bible, Yahweh is the creator. Hasatan is a subordinate adversarial figure, subordinate to the creator and adversarial. Scholarly clarification. The late scholar Michael S. Heiser, in the book The Unseen Realm, printed in 2015 on page 79, he says the Satan in the Old Testament is not a rival deity, but a member of the divine council. Logical problems with the claim that Satan and Yahweh are one and the same. It collapses clear textual distinctions. It ignores Hebrew grammar and syntax. There's no relationship between Yahweh and Satan. It lacks any ancient source support. What ancient source supports a relationship between Yahweh and Satan being one and the same? None. But y'all believe anything that some of y'all cult amassing followers, teacher thingies are out here saying. Crazy. No recognized academic or historical source equates Yahweh with a malevolent being, namely Satan. Here we go. Conclusion. The name Yahweh in historical and theological perspective. The weight of archaeological and textual evidence shows Yahweh was known as early as the late Bronze Age, associated with a southern region, the Shasu of Yahweh. The earliest representation of Yahweh in history is by the Egyptians, and the Egyptians do not call him the God of the Canaanites. They say the Shasu of Yahweh. The Egyptians do not refer to Canaanites as Shasu. They only refer to us as the Shasu, the Israelites. So the earliest attestation of Yahweh in history is by the Egyptians, and even they associate him with the Israelites. The weight of archaeological and textual evidence shows The name does not originate in Mesopotamian or Ugaritic pantheons. Israelite religion engaged with surrounding cultures, but did not simply borrow its God. The identification of Yahweh with Satan is a modern invention without historical or textual grounding. From a Hebraic perspective, Yahweh is revealed as the singular Elohim or God of Israel, whose name carries both historical depth and theological uniqueness, rooted not merely in cultural evolution, but in what the Torah presents as a divine disclosure. Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, Exodus 3:14, a name tied to being, presence, and covenant rather than mythology. Now, if you guys are familiar with my style of teaching, you should know that towards the tail end is when we turn up and get a little heavier. I first needed to talk about how Yahweh is understood in history by scholars, so as to paint a clear picture of distinction between Yahweh and Satan, between Yahweh having an origin in Canaan among the Canaanites, and between Yahweh having an origin by the Egyptians as their God. I needed to show this before I went on to present my thoughts on the Lashon Kodash pronunciation, Ahayah. You know, I put in a lot of work in the last year on the topic of why Lashon Kodash is not an accurate representation of biblical Hebrew. Many people critiqued it, many people questioned it, and even more people are starting to see it for themselves. Again, I say shout out to Deacon and Hassad of TGC Ministries. You know how much humility it takes to know you was teaching that same thing, to turn around and say, no, I was wrong. I share in that sentiment. I too have been wrong about things. There are people right now existing in communities knowing that various teachings are wrong, but to go against the grain separates me from my brother. To go against the grain kind of, changes the relationship between my sister and the brotherhood. So, I can't do that. Well, that's cool. Because when people think like that, it reminds me of what Joshua said. As for me and my household, we're going to serve the Lord. There are times in your life where you have to make that distinction, that when everybody is going in a direction that's wrong, if need be, when you recognize that's wrong, if need be, you need to go in the opposite direction. I can't tell you how many people that I personally know would rather continue teaching things that are in blatant error simply because of association with a brotherhood and various friendships. People will quote things that are in the Torah. People will quote things that a teacher said with the assumption that because this teacher said it, it must be in the Torah. And I could tell you that's entirely wrong. I've been guilty of that. Many people that I know have been guilty of that. I've sat in a community where we heard various teachers teach and say things and repeat it so much in our mind that we swore it was in the Torah. And the moment we went to go debate somebody or have a discussion and we need to bring that point and we quote our teacher and the person says, show me in the Torah. And an hour passes and we still didn't show. And 3 hours pass and we still can't show. And we run into a person a year later and they got jokes. Did you find it yet? And we still can't show. So at what point do you realize that you was following a man rather than the word of God? You see, I'm humble enough to know that even in this moment, I don't think I know everything. I'm humble enough to know that even in this moment, I don't think I have everything right. But I'm also genuine enough to know that when I know and understand that something is wrong, I'm not staying there. I'm moving in a direction of growth. And there can't be no growth when you make a decision to say, speaking out against that which is the status quo, that which is accepted by the community, will effectively mean that it will dissolve or ruin or stain various relationships that I have. Therefore, I can't do that. Well, let me tell you something. You might have been called, but you certainly are not chosen. Abraham was called by himself, not his mans in them. Y'all don't think Abraham had friends in the land of Ur of the Chaldees? Oh, he did. From Abraham's walk, you can tell wherever he went, he made friends. The moment he came into the land, he made friends. So you know he was an impressionable person. You don't think he had friends in Ur of the Chaldees? Surely he did. But God showed him which way was right, and he moved in that direction, even if it meant moving away from friends. Let's go. The divine name through the lens of Lashon HaKodesh, which is how you actually say the Holy Tongue in Hebrew, right? In the study of Lashon HaKodesh, the Holy Tongue of Hebrew, the divine name holds profound significance and reverence. Traditionally, the most sacred name of God is the Tetragrammaton, Yod, He, Wav, He, often vocalized as Yahweh or Jehovah, though its exact pronunciation is considered lost to history and its utterance is avoided out of respect. In Judaic tradition, this name is seen as the ineffable essence of God, embodying the eternal, unchanging, and omnipresent nature of the divine. The letters of the Tetragrammaton are often interpreted as representing the past, present, and future, conveying the timeless nature of the Creator. In liturgical context, alternative names such as Adonai, meaning Lord, Hashem, meaning the name, are used when referring to God. These are all names that people in the Israelite community have told me, oh, why are you saying that? That's the Jewish name. So I can't say Adonai? I'll stop teaching right now, 8:57 p.m. I won't teach ever again. If you open up the book of Isaiah, chapter 7, verse 13 through 14, it says, therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Behold, in that passage, Isaiah chapter 7, verses 13 through 14, where it says, therefore, behold, the Lord himself will give you a sign. Look at the name for the Lord in Hebrew, because it literally says Adonai. But y'all telling me it's Jewish. Well, when I read the text, I see Adonai. But that's the problem too. Y'all have all this command on Hebrew, and when a Hebrew text is before you, you can't even read it. Oh, okay, you might got that, Zion. All right, Adonai is in the scripture, but I know that Hashem stuff ain't there. It's 8:58 p.m. I'll never teach again if when you open the book of Leviticus, chapter 10, verse 24, and it says, he cursed the name of God. Look at the name of God. That passage is a reference to the son of the Egyptian woman cursing the name of God. The name of God that the text is referring to is the Tetragrammaton, Yod He Wav He. But what name of God is used there? Does it say Yod He Wav He? Or does it say Hashem? So I've decided to not listen to you guys because most of y'all don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to continue in my lane doing the scholarly work, convening with other scholars, because a lot of people out here that assume command in the language, that all falls apart the moment you open a Hebrew text in front of them. Here we go. The divine name through the lens of Lashon HaKodesh. The relationship between the name Yod He Wav He commonly rendered Yahweh, and the phrase Ahayah asher Ahayah, Exodus 3:14, is not mystical speculation. It is a matter of precise Hebrew grammar, verbal morphology, and phonology. When analyzed through the structure of biblical Hebrew, these forms reveal a coherent linguistic system rooted in the triliteral verb Ahayah, which means to be. Right? This is the root of Ahayah. Right? Ahayah, I wish there was a person, matter of fact, I'm not going to go on the wish factor. I'm going to invite you to join the Summer Jam Scream Live. Who in here says that the name of Yahweh is Ahayah? Please do join the live stream. Who in here says that the true name of the Creator is Ahayah? Please join the live stream. If you've seen my live streams in the past, you will know you will be respected. If you've seen my live streams in the past, you will know I won't curse at you. You will be heard. If you're feeling froggy, now's your time to jump. I promise you tonight, I'm your Huckleberry Finn. Earlier, I seen some people in the chat, and their name was Ahayah. Y'all are bold. Well, stand on business. T.I. Son voice. Come in here with your little Pikachu outfit and stand on business. Come in here and show us that Ahayah is the true name of the Creator. I want to see something. The relationship between the name Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, commonly rendered as Yahweh, and the phrase Ahayah asher Ahayah, as posited in Exodus 3:14, is not mystical speculation. It is a matter of precise Hebrew grammar, verbal morphology, and phonology. When analyzed through the structure of biblical Hebrew, these forms reveal a coherent linguistic system rooted in the triliteral verb Ahayah, which means to be. At the same time, modern claims, particularly the pronunciation Ahayah, pronounced Ahayah. Oh, really? Collapse under grammatical scrutinies. Such forms ignore the rules of Hebrew verb conjugation, Masoretic vocalization, and comparative Semitic linguistics. What follows is a detailed exposition grounded in Lashon HaKodesh, the Holy Tongue itself. By the way, Elder Rakar, I know you're watching, right? Damn, that's bad. Imagine being the leader of a whole movement, knowing that you're the main person responsible for this idea, and you don't got the testicular fortitude to join this live stream, put on your Pikachu outfit, and stand on business. Is this y'all king? Because trust you me, we know you watching. The link to join the live stream is here. If you're feeling froggy, join the live stream. Oh, I know y'all know I didn't come here to play. The root Ahayah, the foundation of both forms. The verb Ahayah is the standard biblical Hebrew verb meaning to be, to become, or to exist. Ahayah, first person imperfect. I wish there was somebody here that's a proponent of Lashon Kodash. What is the imperfect versus the perfect? What are we talking about? Time. Imperfect is what? Should I give you a free Hebrew lesson? Imperfect is the future because we don't know what the future holds, so we say that's imperfect. Perfect is the past because we can capture it. It already happened. So in biblical Hebrew grammar, past and future tense is classified as imperfect versus perfect. The name Ahayah begins with the first person future tense. The letter Aleph prefix to the root Hayah, I will. The root Hayah means to be. Ahayah, I will be. You don't get that with Ahayah. Like, you don't get that with Ahayah. You know why? Because in the verbal conjugation, when you added the letter Aleph to the root Hayah, you have to now change the vocalization. Because whenever you add, you have to diminish. Whenever you add, you have to diminish. Whenever you add, you have to diminish. I mean, this is biblical Hebrew 101. This is basic. You don't get Ahayah. The root is not Ahayah. The Aleph is the first person future tense. It's the prefix. The root is Hayah. Because you added the Aleph to the root Hayah, you have to now change the vocalization. So the vocalization can no longer be ah. This is why we say a. Ahayah. This is too easy. The fact that y'all teacher is on several videos saying, I'm going to drop the knowledge on you. I can't believe y'all didn't join the academy yet. The true name of the creator is Ahayah. Y'all walking around with this satanic name, Yahweh. Y'all need to join the academy. The academy of what? Pikachu? You know, Elder Regar, just like Dr. James White told you, I don't need the Strongs. I teach biblical Hebrew. Kill shot. Ahayah, first person imperfect. Form, Ahayah. Transliteration, Ahayah. Function, first person singular imperfect, meaning I am, I will be, or I will become. This is the form used in Exodus 3:14. Ahayah, Asher, Ahayah. How are y'all getting Ahayah, Ashar, how? Do y'all realize these pronunciations change the meanings? This is why TGC no longer follow y'all in this Lashawan Kodash foolishness. They've opened their eyes to see enough available evidence no longer agrees with that folly, and they out of here. So you mean the rest of y'all are just willing participants to sit and vomit? Nah, homeboy, you stink. It's time to step. This is the form used in Exodus 3:14. I will be what I will be. In Jesnia's Hebrew grammar, it explains, Ahayah is the first person imperfect of Hayah, denoting becoming or being. Jesnia's Hebrew grammar, 75, page 219. I mean, guys, this is not even effort. I promise you, this is not even effort. If and when you find the testicular fortitude to respond, I'll show you effort. A comment on the screen says, thank you for your donation, by the way. CF Gamer 97 says, Hibachi, Chef Zion, you got to stop the smoke. The smoke detectors you got to stop. The smoke detectors are going off. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen. For all of you out there that are adamant that the name is Ahayah, and you're voicing this in the comment section, that's fine. The only thing I say is respectfully, if you are bold enough to say that Ahayah is the name and you can stand on it, then be bold enough to say it live. Join the live stream. Show me I'm wrong. I'm willing to accept truth. Show me I'm wrong. Let's go through the name grammatically. Let's read it. But here's what we pretty much already know with 99.9% of you that are saying this. You don't know the grammar. And you barely could read if you read at all. And that'd be the problem right there. You have not studied the language formally, informally. You never sat under a real, credible, meritable teacher. Yet you got all this authority in a language that if I present it to you right now, you can't differentiate it from Aramaic or Hebrew. I'll show you an Aramaic text right now and you'll swear it's Hebrew. I'll show you a Yiddish text right now and you'll swear it's Hebrew. But you got the nerve to disagree. The Israelite community has one problem. And it has two sides to it. Pride and arrogance. Yod-Heh Wav-Heh, third person form. The name Yod-Heh Wav-Heh is widely understood by scholars as a third person form of the same root. Meaning he is, he causes to be, or he will be. In the book Canaanite Myth and Hebrew Epic, 1973, on page 68, Frank Moore Cross writes, the name Yahweh is best explained as a causative or archaic form of the verb to be. Do you realize what they just connected it to? The term Yahweh is grammatically connected to Ahayah, literally. Just as the Creator says, by the way. You know, the people who make this argument that the term Yahweh is not of Hebrew origin and it's satanic in origin and the real name is Ahayah and there's no semantical, there's no grammatical, there's no syntactical relationship between Yahweh and Ahayah, anybody saying that in the hearing of people who actually know Hebrew, guess what we just learned in that moment? You don't know Hebrew. Because we're not talking something that's rocket science. This is basic. This is basic. All right. What I'm going to do at this point is do what we do at Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. This is also because of time. I'm going to do the full presentation at Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. I'll be waiting for a response to what I shared thus far from Elder Rakar of GOCC or any other person that says the name of God is truly Ahayah. I'll be waiting on your response. But for the remainder of this presentation, of which I get heavy into the grammar, I'm going to share that with Learn Torah Hebrew Academy as our Makeup Hebrew class for this week. I want to thank everybody that came out this evening. Thank you for supporting Zion Lexx TV. I always want to remind everybody that you might not see us live on Zion Lexx TV because we are not thirsty for viewership, nor are we thirsty for, notoriety. I'm very comfortable in my lane just teaching at Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. Every now and again, I might pop out because of a topic, but for the most part, I'm very comfortable at Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. We don't miss classes there. There's a class there every single week. We go 4 days a week. So if you ever miss Zion Lexx TV and what we do here, make sure that you become a Patreon member at patreon.com/Learn Torah. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. We will be getting far more in depth at Learn Torah Hebrew Academy because I realize that to the people who don't even understand the difference between what I'm saying, they'll attempt to watch this video, study it, to seem like they have an edge in the conversation, even though what I'm actually doing is fueling you. I'm giving you the answers before the test because most of them can't even follow what I'm saying. So they're going to look at all of this and attempt to be able to respond. So I'm effectively helping you to respond by even showing the presentation. Me being intelligent enough to know that, I'm going to pause there and I'm going to relinquish the rest of the presentation for all of our Learn Torah Hebrew Academy members. So again, thank you all for your support. We're going to be going much more in depth into this week at Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. I am your brother, Zion Lexx. I want to say shout out to Elder Gabar, formerly of GOCC. He had the heart and the courage to leave. I know that there are some personal reasons why he left. One thing I'm adamant about is not going into people's personal history because I think that that's silly. Doctrinal differences don't mean that I have to tarnish a person's personal image, right? So I'm not going to revisit anything that was personal between Rakar and Elder Gabar, formerly of GOCC, that became the reason for why they split apart from doctrine. That's never been my thing, and I'm going to ask the community to do that as well. The more that we can focus on doctrinal differences and less personal attacks, the more growth we'll have as a community. The problem is nobody's going to admit that they're wrong when in the midst of you attacking them doctrinally, you're also attacking them personally. You're never going to reach people like that. Keep it clean. If it's about doctrine, keep it about doctrine. You want to go hard, have fun, make some jokes, but don't get into people's personal lives. That's when you cross boundaries. And I could only speak for myself. And I could tell you right now, even at 46 years old, turning 47 this November, you talk about me personally, just hope you never see me in person because my hands still work. With that being said, I hope you guys have a great evening. Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. We're going to make up our Hebrew class. We're going to go very depth into this point. I look forward to anyone that is a proponent of the idea that Ahayah is the true name of the Creator. I look forward to seeing your rebuttal to this, if you rebuttal at all. And if you'd like to join the live stream to have this discussion with me, the floor is yours. If you'd like me to come on your live stream, I'd love to. With that being said, I hope you all have a great evening, and I hope that you guys gain something from this presentation. I am your brother Zion Lexx, and I am officially signing off. Peace.
Shalom and welcome to Zion Lexx TV. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, and share the live stream. Become a member of Zion Lexx TV and unlock several hidden features and hidden videos. Also, you can donate to Zion Lexx TV at Cash App $Zion Lexx or via PayPal at zionlex@gmail.com. We also have an online academy entitled Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. Visit us on patreon.com/learntorah. Our Gold tier membership gives you unlimited access to our special event lectures and our special live movie nights. Our Platinum tier gives you unlimited access to our Torah class, Kabbalah class, Patriarchs and Matriarchs of the Covenant classes, as well as understanding the New Testament via the Oral Tradition class. Our Diamond tier gives you unlimited access to all of the previous tiers, as well as our most sought-after class, our Biblical Hebrew course. And finally, our highest tier, our Sapphire tier, gives you unlimited access to all previous tiers, as well as our highly esteemed Rabbinical course. Be sure to sign up today and check your tier membership so as to ensure you're getting access to the classes you desire. Thank you for visiting us here at Zion Lexx TV, and now back to our current live stream.
Want to take your understanding and perception of the Hebrew Bible to new and exciting heights and depths? Then join us today at Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. We offer a full range of masterly taught and thought-provoking classes and courses in Biblical Hebrew for beginners and advanced students, Torah classes, with specific emphasis on the weekly Torah portion. We also offer Kabbalah classes for beginners and advanced students, affording everyone a deeper and more esoteric understanding of the Bible and Torah. Lastly, we also offer courses in Rabbinical and Levitical ministry training, especially designed for those looking to embark upon leadership opportunities in the community. We provide certificates and diplomas for several of our classes. Our online academy meets a couple days a week, and all of our classes are video recorded and for your playback needs. Each class recording comes with a fully digitized AI transcript, documenting everything learned and discussed in each session.
All right, I'll say a couple of more things before I leave. If anybody has any future topics for Zion Lexx TV to cover, by all means, let me know. I'll be going live on YouTube consistently for about the next week and a half or so, give or take. maybe a little longer. Every now and again, I jump back to YouTube just to have content, just to keep the channel running. This is one of those times that you'll be able to catch the live stream. To those of you who have joined Learn Torah Hebrew Academy, shout out to all of you. To those of you who are still considering joining Learn Torah Hebrew Academy, you can go to the Patreon site. Everything is explained. All of our membership tiers, what you have access to, all of that is right there. It's time, Israel, that we take this thing to the next level. But it's going to take a lot of humility. All of us are under the impression that most of what we believe is accurate. The question begs, what if that's wrong? What if there's a great deal of things we're currently understanding that is incorrect? And then the question is, what are we doing about that? Are we in continual assessment of the knowledge that we currently have, or do we think that we're just right and there's nothing that could be wrong? You see, you only grow when you challenge yourself, and challenge yourself means just that. You have to challenge yourself. You have to look at all areas where you're weak, where you're strong, right? Challenge yourself. If your information is right, put it to the test. If everything you currently believe is accurate, is right, and is sound, put it to the test, right? What's the worst that could happen? You find out that you're wrong. Okay, that's bad? No, it's not. Because finding out that you're wrong means you're one step closer to finding out what's right. That understanding only comes from humility. I am creative enough, I am talented enough to come to YouTube every single day, or as much as I can, with a different topic. But I have no care for notoriety. I have no care for King of the Ring. I just want to do the work, and I just want to play my role. I don't think I'm the HNIC. I don't think I'm the best to ever do it, but I know that I do what I do in a very unique way, and I'm very comfortable. And I also know that sometimes you can burn yourself out. So moving forward, I'm just making sure that I'm not overextending myself just for my own keepsake. But I want to be clear on something. Zion Lexx TV not going live consistently does not mean that we don't have consistent teachings. You can come to Learn Torah Hebrew Academy and you will see. But again, the problem is everyone wants a free ride, and no one wants to compensate those who sacrifice their time. A teacher in the Israelite community is expected to study from sunup to sundown, to be late to work in some cases, to completely skip work in some cases, to be available to answer your question in the morning, that person's question in the afternoon, and your question again at night. And then just remember, the bigger your name is in the Israelite community, the more people have questions. And for you, it's just, I just got one question, why Zion ain't answering me? I just got one response, why he still got me on unread. It's not just you. The bigger your name is in the community, the more people are reaching out. When you look in your inbox and it's 300 people, who do you respond to first? You, on top of that, you're a family guy. You have family. You have a livelihood. What do you do? So I hope people understand that the best way to interact with me is to join Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. That's the best way to interact with me. I'm not that accessible on Facebook. If you try to message me on Facebook and you want to ask me 40 questions about the Torah, I can tell you what you're going to get. As some of you have found out, you're going to get, I don't use Facebook for those purposes. You're not going to beat out 80 questions from me in a Facebook message. The best way to do is to join our academy. All right. So for those of you who would like to take your learning experience to the next level, the academy is there for you. For those of you who think that's not for you, that's absolutely fine too. But I do want to see the community grow. There's a lot that I want to talk about. There's a lot that I will be talking about. I don't enjoy calling people out as much as I can make it sound humorous. I really don't enjoy calling people out as much as I can make it sound humorous, because I really do love our people. But the reality is, in order for the community to grow, something's got to change. In order for the community to grow, somebody got to step down. In order for somebody to step down effectively, somebody has to step up. And the problem is everybody's stepping up, but it's the wrong people stepping up. Everybody's stepping down, and in times there's also the wrong people stepping down. So I think that when all things are said and done, if we're really honest about the forward lateral growth and movement of this community, you should know that in order to grow, we need humility. We have to understand that we are our greatest resources. We have to have a greater capacity to love and respect each other. And if those basic criteria aren't met, then I just got to tell you, it's going to continue to be the Wild Wild West in the Israelite community. And the change that will come, and change is coming, the change that will come, you just won't be a part of it. There's a lot of people that made the book. Making the book is not always a good thing. There's people in the book that are noted not for the things that they did that was good, but for the things that they did was wrong. The real question asks, the real question begs, what do you want to be known for? Your story will be told. All of our stories will be told, but what will be said of you? I hope that means something to you. Genesis/TGC Ministries are not the only group that are growing. We're all growing at different levels and capacities. I can see it. But I can tell you, if I'm honest, if I'm brutally honest, based on the conversations that is being held, we are light years beyond and behind. We are light years behind where we need to be. The Israelite community, with all due respect, is functionally illiterate in understanding the Bible. And I mean that with all due respect. The greater majority of the Israelite community is functionally illiterate in terms of understanding the Bible. And in some cases, that's a literal truth too, right? I've seen teachers that literally couldn't even read and are, leading and teaching. At a certain point, you got to be humble enough to know what's your calling. The Creator has placed gifts in all of us, and not all of us have the same gifts. But if you're a person trying to do it all and you don't have it all, you got to be humble and start saying, no, you do this and I do that. Because I got to tell you that unless you're too prideful and ego-driven to see it, it's embarrassing to look at who is on the leadership end of the Israelite community and have to take a step back and realize that this is how we're being represented. Look at who the leaders are. Look at what they are teaching. There's a lot that I could say. There's a lot that I will say. I'm just trying to find an effective way to bring it out. If you guys have any suggestions for any topics, anything that you'd like to see me comment on, by all means, you can email me at 613learntorah@gmail.com or at zionlex@gmail.com. If you'd like to join Zion Lexx TV as a guest, you'd like to present some information, you can email me at zionlextv@gmail.com. If you'd like to advertise anything you're doing in the Israelite community, you can also email me at zionlextv@gmail.com. May it be the will of the Creator. I will be returning to YouTube a little bit more consistently in the next week, maybe week and a half, maybe a little bit longer. But beyond that, I am faithful to Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. That's where I stay. All right, that's where I'm at, and I'm enjoying that space. We have a lot of fun in that space. I always tell people, you never mix out on a Zion Lexx TV presentation if you're a part of Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. And finally, on that note, everyone, I'm going to sign off. I hope you guys have a great evening, and I want to say peace and love and shalom to you all.
Ancient texts hint at a fascinating truth about biblical figures that challenges modern assumptions. Could Moses and Joseph have been black men? The evidence might surprise you. Historical records show ancient Egyptians were known for their dark complexion, with their land even called Kemet, meaning the Black Land. This becomes significant when we examine biblical accounts where both Joseph and Moses were mistaken for Egyptians among foreign peoples, suggesting a similar appearance. Biblical scholars have long debated this connection, noting these weren't casual misidentifications, but rather complete assumptions of Egyptian identity by observers. A compelling piece of evidence appears in Exodus, where God gives Moses a miraculous sign. When Moses places his hand in his cloak and withdraws it, the text describes it becoming leprous, white as snow. This divine sign's impact relies on the stark contrast between Moses' natural skin tone and the supernatural transformation. The miracle's power lies in the dramatic visible change from dark to light. These historical details align with archaeological findings about the diverse appearances of ancient Middle Eastern peoples. While modern depictions often show biblical figures differently, original texts suggest a more complex historical reality. Ancient Israelites likely shared physical characteristics with their Egyptian neighbors, challenging many contemporary artistic interpretations. What other historical truths might we discover by examining ancient texts more carefully?
And I really say I'm amazed by the way you succeed to collect and to connect with every type of people, and the way you grab and spread the knowledge. I've never seen that in my life. I have to be honest. And you stay very simple, very humble. And I think many people have to learn from you. And this needed to be said also in front of many people. And you know, when we talk about spirituality, we don't look at the envelope, we look at the soul.
Come on.
It's amazing. So Rahaba, thank you very much. I was personally very amazed by your level. I was not judgmental at all. I did not knew. But what I've seen today in many yeshiva that I put my legs where I went through, many are not at your level at all. And I will really say to all the people who study under you to believe that they have a real master. Because the way you receive us, the way you explain the Torah, the fire you bring through your explanation, it's like a stamp on the fact that you are a real one, a real sages. It will be my honor to share, to talk more about Learn Torah Hebrew Academy.
All right, perfect. So again, it's amazing to be here with Rav Zion and just, you know, having this conversation. And the conversation is great. You know, it's also, I also feel like it's a gift for me as well. Like, there's so many deep and amazing insights that Rav Zion brings out, and it gets me thinking. And when I look back on these conversations, you know, on YouTube, you know, I hear a lot of the things he's saying again, and it's like, wow, that was really deep. And the other, you know, I talked to other rabbis too in our community, and they said, yeah, I saw the thing you do with Lex Zion. It's like, and I was like, yeah, it's like, they're like, he knows a lot. You know, and I'm like, yeah. Like, you know, but like they said, he's like, he knows a lot, you know. But you dress like a Ben Torah, and it's and people are bothered by that, or like even say this idea of like saying like, why would I not call Rav Zion HaGadol? Why would I not? How many people has he been teaching for how many years? Do you know what greatness that is? To even have the merit to teach Torah to people, that God even gave you, put you in a position in life that's something that people, you know how many people I've met, they're like, yeah, you know, Rav Zion's, I should learn with him, blah, blah, blah. Like I told you, the Hart family, right?
Yeah, amazing family.
Yeah, they're moving to Israel, right? Or maybe they're already here, who knows? But the point is just saying that, like, they were inspired by your teachings, right? And there's been so many other people who've been inspired by your teachings.
Oh, my king.
Shalom, my great brother. And you know, when people say so many great things about you, and say that it takes one to know one. So I can reverse all of those things, you know, right back to you, because I've been following you for a long time. And, you know, the immense knowledge I learned from you, the respect that I have for you, the honor that I give you, you know, as one of the great teachers in the Israelite community, and not only to the Israelite community, but to our family, wherever they may be found, is one that is second to none. And I do appreciate the work that you've been doing and that you do. And you don't know how much you inspire me, you know. So I wanted you to know that as well, you know, that you have that type of effect on brothers and sisters. You know, you may just been started following me, but I've been following you for a long time. And a lot of what I know actually came from, you know, some things that you had shared that I needed to go and to research deeper. So I want to tell you how much I appreciate you and how much I love you and how much is an honor for me to even be invited to your platform, my brother. I mean, you know, I don't take this lightly at all. I'm very appreciative of it. And thank you. Thank you.
The way to whoever wrote those Hebrew writings was smarter than anybody we have ever met in our life.
Why you say that?
Because when I'm studying the writing, and they have what's called they have idioms. They have idioms, family. They have metaphors. They have epithets. Epithets is like, say, El is the God. So you'll have El Elyon. El Elyon would be probably, no, that's not a good example. But just different names of that same God would be an epithet of that God. They have epithets. They have idioms. Who does that if you're not intelligent? I know that, but I'm just saying they had some sort of numerology in there. When you see Zion going into the whole gematria stuff, that's later on, but they did have some sort of gematria in numeric, alphanumeric thing going. I'm saying this to everybody who is in Kemet. We know how great Kemet is, but whoever wrote the text, whoever wrote that Bible, is smart as a mother effer.
What Hebrew Israelite you think is the best though?
The best?
Allah?
I think Captain, as far as the debate, is the epitome in the One West community.
I agree. I think
Zion is a very good debater. If he wants to do the whole Sumer thing or whatever, we could chop it up after the book. I mean, it's up to him.
Now, as far as the true scholarship, I got to go with Zion Lexx on that.
I don't know about true scholarship, but hey, you know.
I'm talking about as far as Hebrew Israelites. I'm going with Zion with their scholarship.
I would go with Divine.
If I was to say Hebrew against Hebrew, I would have to go with Zion Lexx.
Well, I'll go with Divine. I think Divine is more thorough. As far as a debater, Zion is the best. Zion and Captain is the best, no doubt.
Okay.
No doubt in my mind. That boy Zion, oh man, he gonna chop this video up, by the way, too. He gonna chop it up, put it on his timeline. You see what Garfield said? When it comes to that debating from the Hebrews, ain't nobody better than Zion and Captain. I'm just
I want to say this. We have to support each other. We have to support black businesses. I must say, when it comes to biblical Hebrew and you want to study it, my brother Zion Lexx has classes. He doesn't only teach biblical Hebrew, he teaches Medunature. Please, you want to learn? Absolutely. Go to him. Let him teach you what he has mastered. It's beautiful to watch him display it. If you want to have a better view on how the Bible looks at women in its proper context, then you should get these two books. Matriarchs of the Covenant, written by Abdil Ben Levi, popularly known as Zion Lexx. This is a masterpiece.
When you wake up in the morning and it's raining in your heart and you feel like you can't make it before you even start, your world is wrapped in darkness and you cannot see the light. and all your situations don't seem to work out right. Open up your vision. Open up the law, and remember just who you are. You're an Israelite, and you'll always be here. Remember the covenant that's passed down from year to year. See, Moses was a servant with a very special deed. He was sent to old Pharaoh to say, let God's people be. Israel were captive of an unrighteous man, and though Pharaoh would not hearken to the words of the Most High plan, open up your vision, open up the law, and remember who you are. You're Israelite, and you'll always be here. Remember the covenant that's passed down from year to year. My yes, He is our Savior, our hope and guiding light, and He grants us understanding. Yes, He teaches us the light. He will come to our rescue when we give His praises due. So come, let us extol Him. Come on, just me and you. Open up your vision. Open up the law, and remember just who you are. You're in the light, and you'll